coming to you live. You know what tab out and do until it's from Asia District, one of the 16 that make up the Peruvian province of Cañete, founded by Bento Chumpitas Chavez on July 24, 1964. It was originally part of the Coyoyo district. We are here today with ESL Open Cup Asia division number 240. That's like if you swap it around, that becomes nice. I'm of course Hirosiaku of Deizaku, and with me today is El Niño que ahora también es un compañero calamar. Like _VIP, how we doing?
What's up, Yaku? Welcome back, everyone, to one of the final ESL Open Cups of the season. No EPT points are awarded, but this is the ESL Open Cup right before EWC. That's why a lot of players are traveling, a lot of players are not here, and that means that the Open Cup is up for grabs. We have quite an interesting array of players here this week.
Yeah, it's more open than ever.
Yeah.
And of course, we're gonna kick it off. We'll get into it later, but I feel like we have an even balance on today's bracket. But regardless, we're gonna kick it off here with a little bit of ZVZ on Oceanborn. Where over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way over here in the top left, we of course have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Taiwan, representing Offside Gaming. We have Rex.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Australian Zerg player. Going pool first, by the way. Going for a much more aggressive start. We haven't casted him in a very, very long time, in over a year, maybe more than that. It's the Australian Zerg. It is NXZ Ryan.
The kid.
Oh, you know you want to say it.
Yeah.
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 Ryan?
What are you talking about? Just because we're casting Ryan, I gotta come in and be like, Ryan. Well, yes, that is how it works.
There you go.
Yeah, it's glad to see Ryan back here today.
It is great to see him back. After a very long hiatus, he has returned. We do have that pool first. Lings, they get across the map. They're going to be threatening the mineral line, and they're looking for 1 or 2 drone kills. We'll see if we can get them. The queens are quite yet out. Nice control so far. Rex, he does pull away the drones, but one drone does go down. Up.
Now we're looking for another. We will get another. Potentially a third. No, we will not. Queen pops out just in time to act as the final forward defense.
There we go. We deny mining time. We get 2 drone kills, and as the dust settles, Ryan Jones does have a 1 worker lead, and we're going for a fast bailing nest in the main base. Aggression is the name of the game here for Ryan. He does want to double down. He does want to commit.
Indeed. This is how he made it to the playoffs of ANZ Pro League at one time.
True. There you go. Can confirm.
Fast, hyper-aggressive style. Rex does come in, does do a little bit of scout, sees that there isn't a third base, and that's a suspicious amount of links. Okay, maybe not that suspicious, but still, lack of a third base should tell him everything he needs to know.
Yeah, he should know that there's some kind of aggression. I mean, it could be 2-base roach, right? Like, there could be a couple of different things on the way, but aggression is on the table. Banelings are in production. We're massing lings across the map. Ryan, he's going for a massive all-in, a massive ling bane bust across the map, but Rex does have defensive banelings on the way.
He does.
Yeah, he just needs a little bit more time for those banelings to finish up. But no! Oh my god, that was so close. Baneling almost does connect, but the banelings of Rex have completed. They finished up and they are looking to connect. So far, it looks like, yeah, the banelings are being charted down. We have 3 banelings left, and so far the queens are holding.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit of a knife fight, a little bit of a battle here to see who can actually connect those banelings better, but the fact that Rex has those queens does mean that he's just going to be in an infinitely better position to hold.
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
The
flanking bane!
Ooh, the flanking bane does almost catch Ryan off guard. Thankfully, no major connection, but Rexy just keeps on flooding across the map. Meanwhile, now Ryan has to be the defender. NXZ has to be the defender, not the offender here, but there are so many links in favor of Rex. Bailings, they do not connect. One more bailing goes down. There's one bailing left. Up! Oh my god.
And now there's 0 banelings remaining, but we do have a couple more in production right now. 2 banelings left for Ryan. A decent trade over here.
Yeah.
Still not fantastic. Nice little snipes.
Yeah, gets a Baneling. Gets 1 Baneling. You have 2 Banelings left. We have another 2 finishing up. Roach one has been thrown down, but the problem here is that actually Ryan has a worker lead. Rex has been doubling down. His droning has been a little bit lackluster, and there's going to be a little bit more pressure here on Rex so far. Still no major connections from the side of Rex. Banelings are going to be forcing backbuilding Bane, and NXZ, he's holding. Or is he? Up! Oh my god. Up!
Just barely. He's losing a handful of lings here and there, but now he's got the roaches out, and he still has a couple of banelings still alive that can deter any ling aggression from the side of Rex for the time being.
Yeah,
so for now, yeah, he's held.
Yeah.
He's even on the base count,
yeah.
and he's ahead in the worker count.
Yeah, kind of.
And he's ahead tech-wise. He has the Roach Warren.
And we're going for a follow-up all-in. So Ryan, he has cut workers. He's at like 1.5 base saturation. He has prioritized gas mining here on 3 gases. And now we're moving out across the map with Ling, Roach, Baneling. Rex has droned up a little bit further. He does have a Spine Crawler on the way. The Spine Crawler is going to be crucial here in the defense as we catch reinforcements.
Yeah, not the best pathing here for Ryan's roaches. Them do end up getting caught in the middle of the map, but now enough roaches have made it through. They are starting to bust their way forward past the first couple of screens.
Yeah, and it looks like we're looking for those shooting connections. We get a decent connection here on the Lings of Rex. Another decent connection as well, but there's only 1 Baneling left for Ryan, and we're getting us around on those roaches.
Man, it's so hard to tell whose banelings are whose with this color scheme, but yeah, it looks like Rex has just about held this. Hold on. Still a couple more. No, wait, those are Rex's banelings. Never mind.
Yeah, we have the banelings detonating. We have Ryan busting into the main base. He barely has enough roaches. They are battered and bruised, but they're still up and running. We're going to surround on the roaches of Rex, and we're going to be able to shut them down.
Yeah, it's absolutely crucial right now that Ryan does have these handful of lings to act as a bit of a buffer. Not going to help him with the mineral walking, but now they have broken through. The roaches are insanely low, but they're still alive, and they're still getting their volleys off, and that's all that matters.
They get 15 drones. They get 15 drones because we're flooding lings across the map. These roaches, they're barely standing. They're like a sneeze away from all of them going down, and the boys are being pulled. It looks like finally we should be able to clean up these roaches with good target firing, but the damage has been done, and Ryan does have a worker lead.
He does. I mean, he's still going to be doubling down on the aggression. That's 9 roaches on the way, and not a drone in sight, but yeah, this is a very healthy lead that Ryan has secured for himself. If he wanted to, he could just macro out of this, and there we go. There's a lair.
Oh, there we go. The lair is on the way, and Ryan, he's going to try and, work towards further tech. I don't imagine Muta's going to be on the way, but I imagine Roach speed and committing into Roach Ling. I wouldn't be opposed to Ryan droning from this point forward, but he is still not making any extra workers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, I guess 32 drones is all you need if you're going to be grabbing Roach speed and anything else from here on out, but I don't know. I feel like the old man, as the old man saying goes, when you're ahead, get even more ahead.
True. Also, am I roboted to you?
No.
Oh, okay, you're roboted to me. Oh my god. That's weird. As the big Baneling does connect here on the right-hand side, so not the best move here out of Ryan. He is going to try to slip into that middle line at the same time. Ooh, the Ravager goes down as well, but Ryan has a massive Roach advantage, and Ryan, he's going to be able to bust through the defenses here. Rex, he droned up too much.
GG is called, and Ryan and NXZ will be taking game number 1.
GG. Hold on, we'll head over to the Singaporean server. Hold on. There we go. So so I do apologize for any robotic noises you may have heard, but we should be okay here. We'll make sure everything's all good. But GG, well played. Ryan does take a lead in this series. A very, very chaotic game number 1. Very back and forth as well. There were moments for both players. Alas, if you drone sometimes in ZVZ, you do die. And yeah, things did go south real quick there for Rex, but it was so close as well. We pointed it out. We saw so many red HP roaches for Ryan, and if we had gotten like 1 or 2 extra volleys off on the side of Rex, if they had gone down any sooner, then it would have been a much cleaner hold. It would have been a completely different game.
Now you're roboting for me.
Okay. You know what? We may just be done with the cans. Actually, you know what? I'll try one more time. We'll head over to like US West or something.
Oh. Now it's here. But yeah, I was able to piece together a couple of what you were saying over there. It was insanely close towards the end there, especially with those roaches. So many of them down in red health. Literally just one sneeze, one Baneling connection would have been enough to take it all out. But Rex, he had no Banelings. He had no Banelings, he had no Lings, he had no roaches. He had, by the time the dust had settled, Ryan still had a couple of roaches standing. Rex unfortunately did not.
Exactly. He barely did have enough. And with that, we're getting into game number 2 and the favorite player down in the series.
Indeed. Over here, we're going to be loading into Crimson Court, where we're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, swatting all the way in the bottom left. A player who's been a lot more active in these past couple of months, and somebody who was the favorite player coming into the series, now currently down 0-1, representing Offside Gaming, the Red Zerg player from the land of Taiwan. He is Rex.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Australian Zerg player, the Green Zerg, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Ryan NXZ Jones.
I just realized that's the old Legacy jersey.
Yeah, that's the old Legacy Esports.
Looks surprisingly similar to the Offside Gaming jersey.
Coincidence?
Coincidence?
Conspiracy? Is Ryan actually Rex?
We've never seen them together holding hands. Okay. So
I love his smile though. Ryan,
possible.
he's got the best smile. It's what he's known for.
Yeah. He's got the little closed eyes, the squint going on there.
Yeah. Doing his best Yaku impression. As we're settling in. Oh god. It is going to be a more standard opener. Hatch gas pool here from Ryan and from Rex. Despite the aggressive start we had from Ryan in game 1, we're going to be settling down here in game 2.
Dude, we are. Well, yeah, actually. Indeed we are. I mean, Ryan still went for the pool first, but this is looking a lot more like a safety pool, a lot more standard, and yeah, it's the exact same thing that Rex is doing, so yeah, we may have memed our way into a victory on Oceanborn, but now we're getting into Crimson Court, where the map itself is a meme. So there's no need to really ape it up here.
Exactly. The map itself can do its work here. Bearing in mind as well that two-base play can be a lot more prevalent on this map, just because you can wall off here, and then you can take a very secure linear third if you mine through these middle patches, so you can be a little bit greedier in a sense and skip Ling Bane. So I'm curious if either player embraces that, as actually Rex is going for the forward base.
Oof. Rex looking to turn the tables on game number 2. This is a super important scout right now for Ryan NXZ. And it will let him know that Rex is planning to play aggressive this time.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Ryan opening up standard, going for the standard third base into a Bailey nest. Meanwhile, Rex has not thrown down a Bailey nest of his own. That is a little bit interesting. It's possible that he might just be trying to go Ling into Roach, and that, of course, would make sense as he's going towards that high Vespine gas geyser. So this is a risky move out of Rex. Basically, he's Ling flooding, and he won't have Bailings to work with. Not yet. That's a lot of Lings.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a gamble here, especially after NXZ's Bailey Nest finishes up, but that is a lot of Lings, and there is a little bit of a window here where Ryan just won't have those Banelings.
Yeah, we have 3 Banelings on the way. Ling's speed is going to be kicking in here for Rex, but he hasn't pulled the trigger yet, but here we go. We have a massive lot of Lings on the way, and his goal here is to try to catch the Queens. He's getting himself the Banelings.
Yeah, right, it's a turn to Eggs, but thankfully for NXZ, he is able to chase him away just at the last second. Queen gets surrounded. We don't have a transfuse! The third will be going down regardless. And now Ryan has a lot of catching up to do. This Link Flood from Rex has accomplished its mission. He's ahead on the base count.
And now Rex is joining. Now Rex is joining on up. We do see the counterattack from Ryan. The pressure is on. He has to try to punish this third base. He's now down a hat-trick here compared to his opponent, but he's up in workers. Bailing is targeted down. Nice control there from Rex. Does target it down with the queens. Another Bailing goes down. Another Bailing as well. Ooh, bit of miscontrol there out of Ryan.
Yeah, now Rex is getting a couple of Bailings of his own. It looks like this counter aggression from NXZ is not quite going to pay off, at least not until the Roachhorn finishes up. I don't know if you noticed this slight, but he hasn't remade that third.
Yeah, he's not remade that third base. The Bailings are denied as well. We can see NXZ trying to go for a massive counterattack, but alas, we are keeping up, and the Lings are not getting the damage that they're really hoping for. Behind this, Ryan is going all in. He's cut workers, and he's making roaches. He's making nothing but roaches.
Yeah, now getting the third base, but I have a feeling that's more for production than anything else.
Oh yeah, it's going to be all about that larva, going to be all about that supply. Likewise, once again, Ryan just trying to buy time, trying to drag the attention of Rex away, but Rex, he only pulls away half his Lings, the other half, it hits the natural.
Like so. Roaches just not quite in position, and they are in low numbers as well, so they're pretty much asking to be surrounded. GG is called, and Rex is able to tie us up sideways 1-1.
GG, well played. We are going all the way to the ace match. Again, a very intense game there. We had Rex initially going for the Ling Flood, and alas, we saw that Ryan was unable to defend his third base, just barely was not able to hold on. And yeah, from that moment, Rex was in the driver's seat, was able to take control of the game, control of the map. Now we're going to the ace match.
Indeed, we are. Whew. Very short maps that we've had so far in this best of 3, but I mean, I guess it's to be expected when you put Rex up against Ryan. Two players well known just for their aggression.
Oh yeah, is known for his aggression, and here we go. We're getting into the ace match. We're going to be loading into site Delta.
Indeed, we are. A little bit more of a normal-ish map, but still one where we see a lot of aggression from Zerg players.
Oh yeah, exactly. The rush distance is a little bit longer. The bases are a little bit more exposed and wide open as well. But we also have a very unique feature. That feature being the ramp leading into the natural.
Yeah, a bit safer, but we'll see how safe you can really get when you're in a ZVZ. As over here, we're going to be concluding our best of 3 on site Delta. Here in the bottom right hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right, we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Taiwan. He's of course going to be representing Offside Gaming. We have Rex.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Australian Zerg player, the green Zerg. It is Ryan NXZ Jones. Hatch first?
Hatch first. Coming up for both our players, so no pools. I guess they both have kept in mind the ramp leading into the natural base, so then they respect each other enough that they are not quite going to... They're not quite going to risk it all on the ace match.
Yeah. I mean, the opener may be standard, but, I mean, as you pointed out, right? This series has been quite fast. We have not gotten, like... even 2-base saturation hasn't occurred. Like we've seen players cut workers at less than 2-base saturation just with the third base just for larvas. So we have yet to really embrace the mid game between these two, and I don't know if we're going to start here. I mean, this would be the time to do it, but I'm not so sure about that.
Nah. I think we're just going to see a Roach Rush versus a Lignitus.
There you go. It's possible. We keep our eyes on our players. What we were alluding to before, obviously, was the ramp leading into the natural. This does mean that we could play 2-base Roach for 2-base Muta, 2-base Nidus players you were even alluding to as well. That is viable on site Delta. We'll see if either one does go in that direction. So far, we've been very Lingbane heavy, though, from both players.
Yeah, which to be expected, really. Yeah, if you're going to go aggression right off the gate, you might as well go aggressive right off the gate, you know?
Yeah. Wise words.
Yeah.
Want to be aggressive.
You might as well be aggressive.
Yeah. There you go. That's why you're the caster, Yaku.
Yeah.
Let's go. As Rex is going to be the first to expand, it does take the third base, and NXZ should not be too far behind him. I say that, no third base in sight. Ryan, he's going for the Baliness in the main.
Oh boy. Thankfully, Rex himself is opening up pretty normal and getting a Baling Nest of his own, pretty safe, but as well as Roach Warren. But this does signal that NXZ, obviously, if there was... I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. NXZ is the one who wants to be aggressive.
Yes. So what's happening right now is that NXZ, he's faking two-base Roach. You can see that's why he's hidden the tech structure. That's why he's throwing down the Roach Warren here at the ramp. It's making it look like he's skipping Ling Bane, and his hope is to have Rex cancel his Baneling Nest. And if Rex... He does! He cancels the Baneling Nest! This is ideal for Ryan. I mean, Rex is doing the correct thing because he scouts two-base Roach, but it's anything but.
Indeed, it is. This is the correct thing if he was up against what he was actually up against,
yes.
But really he's not. He does see the Lings coming across the map, so he does make a ton of Lings right now, but he has no Baneling Nest to work with. He is walling off that main, but it does mean that the third base is forfeit. Rex, he's just going to give it up. And he's just going to have to figure out a way to hold on two bases and go for some counter aggression.
Exactly. That's a free third base killed here for Ryan, so a massive pig off. At the same time, behind this, he can expand, he can drone up, he can macro out of this and try to contain Rex on two bases. For the time being, the Lings are at the wall, and this forces the Evo Chambers to finish. They will not cancel, and that is wasted resources for Rex.
I can hear him shaking his head from here. Just...
Oh my god!
That's a lot of Evo Chambers.
And Rex, yeah, he's overreacting.
Rex is worried about a Bane Bus.
Yeah, like Ryan, he's doing a great job here just feigning aggression, but he's droning up. Behind this, he's droning up, and there we go. A mass cancellation from Rex. He realizes he has been bamboozled, and that is a lot of wasted resources once again.
Yeah, Rex, he's feeling a little frazzled right now. Can't say I blame him. I mean, he just got completely baited into holding against a build that wasn't coming his way. And yeah, now he really does want to make sure that he crosses his I's and he dots his T's and make sure that he doesn't all of a sudden leave an opening that allows him to get Ling flooded.
Yeah, exactly.
But he is overreacting.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize as well that what Rex is doing was the correct thing to do. The most efficient way to play is what I should say, which is why this build from Ryan, if he did it against a lesser player, it wouldn't work. Against a lesser player, they would just finish the Baneling Nest and they would make Banelings, right? Because they're not being as efficient. It's just something that only works at the highest level.
Yeah, he's doing the correct thing, but not the right thing.
In
this scenario, his brain is working against him.
That's the problem. He's using the brain. That's the real problem.
Yeah, we've seen many a good player fall to their own brain. And now NXZ, I mean, he does have to be worried about this counter aggression coming out from Rex. That's a lot of roaches coming his way. But he's also doing just a really good job of keeping tabs on him, catching a couple of stray reinforcements here and there. NXZ not too far off when it comes to his own roach count, and he's even going to have an upgrade advantage.
Well, basically what's happening is that he forced an all-in. Rex is completely all-in. He got workers at 30. NXZ might have overdroned. He's droned up to 42, so that's a lot of workers. That's less roaches to work with. So Ryan cannot take a head-on fight. Up.
He cannot, especially not if he gets surrounded by the Lings like this. Ryan coming down from the flank. A lot of Banelings do explode. And it looks like with the defender's advantage, NXZ is barely gonna hold this.
It's very close here. I mean, these roaches are so low. Lings are flooding on in as well. And NXZ, he is barely holding on. He's gonna force this back. And remember, Ryan, he's got a third base. He has a higher drone count as well. Ryan, he defends the all-in, and now he is miles ahead.
He's got everything going his way right now. It would take a massive blunder for him to give it up here, or a massive galaxy brain move from Rex. But I gotta be honest, maybe I'm just too low on the evolution poll, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the move that could possibly bring Rex back into this game.
It's gonna be difficult. I mean, Ryan, he has two choices: either go for the third and just contain, or just go for the kill. He's going for the kill, which is maybe the ideal for Rex. We'll see if Rex can maybe catch Ryan overextending. A lot of Roach is gonna be going down. Decent Baneling connection as well, but Rex is trying to brute force his way up the ramp into the natural.
And Ryan, great target firing as well. Gonna be taking out these roaches one by one. I don't think he's gonna have enough momentum to keep this going.
Yeah.
But even still, he still has that advantage.
He does have the advantage, but Rex, he barely holds on with the defensive advantage with the reinforcements, and his third base is about to be up and running. So Rex, he holds. This was the best case scenario for Rex. Again, Ryan just wants to try to go for the kill, barely did not have enough, but you can see that NXZ, he's not droning. He's getting ready for a second wave.
Yeah, which is potentially a bit of an overreaction here from NXZ, but at the same time, he didn't scout that third base, so this is once again the correct thing to do, but not necessarily the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. As again, like a failed all-in is kind of the best way for Rex to survive this and to catch back up. Is that if NXZ, if he kind of like misjudges the situation, if he overextends, if he takes a bad fight, then Rex can claw his way back in. We'll see if that's the case, because Rex likewise is not droning. Like, the hope for Ryan is that maybe he catches his opponent like focusing on his economy, but he's not, so the supplies are getting pretty close.
The supplies overall are getting pretty close, but the army supplies is still massively in favor of Orion. He also has those flanking lings that can come in and really cut the retreat of the roaches if need be, or just go straight to the main.
Yeah. The best way to make use of just the higher army supply. The roaches, they clash against each other. Lings are in the main base, they're in the natural as well. Boys are going down, and Ryan, he is pulling Rex apart.
GG is called, and Ryan will be taking that series 2-1. And I.
GG, well played, Ryan. He does it again. It's been a long time since NXZ has been an active pro player. I see some people in the chat, Fiant, asking who's NXZ. I've never heard of him.
Oh.
Well, NXZ was a pro before.
Baby.
Yeah, before Fiant was incepted. That's the reality. Before Fiant had kind of been birthed into the world, that's when Ryan was roaming the StarCraft 2 competitive scene. Was
roaming the Outback.
Yeah, roaming the Outback back in WCS.
Yeah,
he used to compete in WCS Americas. He used to travel the world as well, and there was a period where he was actually the best player in Australia. A period where, you know, you had like Ryan as the best Zerg, you had Probe
after I guess Igas or something.
Yeah, where things were still settling in. You know, the rise of during like the rise of Probe, basically, just before he had kind of like risen to the best in the region. Yeah, GG, well played. Ryan will take the series, Rex gets knocked out, and Ryan gets the privilege of advancing on to the next round to face off against his next opponent.
Indeed. A pretty short series that we had here, so it's one of the few times that I'm actually thankful that we had a bunch of walkovers, or a bunch of like players seeded directly into the quarterfinals this week. Ryan gonna be moving ahead to face Rogue in yet another CVZ. Yeah,
let's switch our scenes over, have a look at that bracket. We have a lot of updates, as some people have been mentioning in the chat. The bracket is a little bit smaller, as we tried to bring attention to. The reason for this is because a lot of players are traveling. The majority of the top Korean players are traveling and making their way over to EWC, so they are not available here to play in this week's tournament.
That they are not, but hey, that means there's still plenty of prize money up for grabs. We have one of the most open tournaments, I think, that we've had here in the Pro Tour.
Oh yeah, very open, and we have those updates. We have Scarlet going up against Rebellion in a ZVP. Rebellion takes down Fork at 2-0. Sorry, just updating the admin in game. But yeah, Scarlet up against Rebellion. We have NXZ taking down Rex 2-1, advancing on to face off against Rogue in the quarterfinals. That's going to be a big ZVZ. We're going to be following NXZ into that series. Scrolling down, we have Lancer versus Lunacy in a PvP. And at the bottom of the bracket, we have Azura up against Iba. Winner goes up against Nightmare.
Yeah. Azura up against Iba in what we would hopefully, what we're hoping is a ZVP. But all things considered, it's probably another PvP.
True, unironically. So basically, we have all the Zerg players in the upper half of the bracket, and we have all the Protoss players in the lower half of the bracket. That's
yeah.
No Terran.
That's very much how we got. So we have like a 95% chance of having a ZVP Grand Finals. I think it's like a 5% chance of a PvP.
Oh yeah. So we're hoping to
I'm
avoid
hoping for that now.
Yeah, we're hoping to avoid the mirror matchup finals.
I'm rooting for Rebellion now.
Let's. Oh my god, you're an animal, Bobby. You're an animal. You just want chaos. You just want purely PvPs.
Yeah. Look, it was foreshadowed. We had the Sparkling Tuna Cup Asia edition in the title, so it was foreshadowed.
True. Not wrong. Not wrong. As we're getting ready here for the next round, Rogue is on. I keep forgetting. Is he on Falcon?
Team Falcon,
Okay.
Or Falcon Esports, or it's something. I know it's a team that goes.
Jesus. That hurt my ears a little bit, but it's fine. Okay, Team Falcons. Yeah, that's it. Team Falcons.
Or is it?
That's exactly how a Falcon sounds. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right, but we are just setting up. The players are currently conducting their vetoes as the ZVZs do continue. And coming into this, Rogue is going to be the heavy favorite, but it's a ZVZ matchup. As we just saw, things can get very chaotic, and I'm sure NXZ is going to try to bring him down under.
Yeah. Drag him down.
I could barely make out the music. I could. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shorter, bit of a sweeter broadcast here with ESL Asia. But again, plenty of amazing matches are ahead of us, and we're here to embrace them. Young Oliveira was the only Terran player in the bracket, but again, he has been knocked out. So, yeah.
And Oliveira that's even younger.
True.
Than Oliveira.
Baby Oliveira.
That was supposed to be Percival, right?
What?
The young Oliveira.
You think he's calling Oliveira out? He's like, take that old man.
Unfortunately, retired.
Oh god.
Well, see, here's the thing. We're trying to figure out who the young Oliveira is, when really, as we all know, Oliveira is just the young XY.
True. Exactly. Big XY fan. But for now, it looks like we have a little bit of downtime. Looks like our players need a moment to set up. So we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have our next DBZ. Indeed,
we shall. We need to wrangle Rogue. He thought he had a little bit more time than he actually did, which, oh man, what a fool. To assume that this ZVZ would last longer than 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Oh,
animal, Bobby, animal. So we'll see you guys soon. Take this moment, massage your marines, drain your disruptors, and hydrate your hydras. We'll be back soon with our next match.
No,
game. Never mind. We have a lobby. we just got it.
Yep. You'll be jumping in.
Yeah. So we were about to go to a break, but it looks like the vetoes have just finished up, and we are getting ready for game one.
Hey, no breaks on the Royan train.
Yeah, exactly. It's catching up in the chat. Wasn't he the #1 Australian Zerg in 2019? I want to say that, yeah. Before the rise of Oreo. Before the rise of Oreo is when Royan stepped up.
Yeah. But regardless, we are going to be jumping into the land down under the sea. It's Oceanborn. Over here in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right, we of course have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing his team, Team Falcons. We have Rogue, sexy boy.
Let's go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have Spinner going for a pool first opener. Okay, we have the Australian Zerg player, the veteran of the region, returning after a long time of retirement and still able to go toe-to-toe with the best of them out there. It is Ryan NXZ Jones. Any free in the chat? Predictions are open. Place your bets, man. Yeah. Place your bets.
Yeah, place your bets unless you're from Denmark, Singapore, or Poland.
Ah, smooch.
As Kuro is informing us. So make your head.
Yeah, unfortunately, unable to do predictions in every country, but you know, if you're out there, you can get your Gamba going. If not, VPN just for Gamba.
Yeah. It's a way. You cross over the worlds.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So you have an option. As for now, NXZ member going for his pool first. We have 6 Lings on the way. Now, the purpose of this is just to get a couple of drone kills to wreak a little bit of havoc and to macro out of this. It's a bit of a cheeky way to open up. We'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, against a player like Rogue, who is, you know, pretty well known for deflecting against early game aggression like this, it's going to be a lot tougher here for NXZ. It's going to be relying a lot on that element of surprise, which is why I like the fact that his Ling Team 6 have just gone full Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And have completely avoided the Overlords.
They did kind of hunker down. They put up the box and they were able to scuttle their way across the map. Meanwhile, we see Rogue getting his own defensive Lings up and running. I say defensive Lings. That's actually a decent chunk of Lings on the way. But again, we'll see if we can get any drone kills.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky now that we have a handful of Lings out, but yeah, fortunately for Ryan, Rogue did send a couple of his Lings across the map, so it would have been a better situation here to get a drone kill or two, but unfortunately for Ryan, Rogue was on top of that drone drilling and only one ended up going down.
Exactly, just one drone kill. That's not enough. We get a full scout. We do get eyes on the Baliness as well. And Rogue is now fully aware of the aggression of Ryan. Back at home, we should be setting up. We have our Queens on the low ground. Defensive Baliness, wall off as well. We'll see how Rogue does respond to the Link Bane of NXZ.
Yeah, we're keeping our eyes glued on that production tab to see when, if at all, he throws down a Baneling Nest of his own.
I like this. So I think that was intentional. NXZ, he just showed his links to the Overlord, and obviously Rogue, he saw the Baneling Nest, so Ryan's he's droning. NXZ, he's droning on up. He's getting a third base. Because he got scouted, he's not committing to the Link Bane.
That he is not, but unfortunately, does this Overlord scout the it scouts the hatch, and now Rogue is well aware that NXZ is looking to fake him out, but he's not going to get faked out.
Yeah, Rogue, he's aware of the third base. Now, he still did wall off, so because of this, Rogue is still playing 2-base. We have the Lair on the way. It's going to be 2-base Roach out of Rogue. Technically, it could be 2-base Muta as well. We keep an eye on Rogue. But this tells me that Ryan is going to be taking a bit of an economic advantage, but we'll see how aggressive Rogue plans on being.
Yeah, typically I imagine Rogue to be quite aggressive, especially on a map like Oceanborn. It's still in my brain, like ESL Masters Dallas, Rogue versus Solar on Oceanborn, where he just all-in'd every map, but made it look like he was playing macro.
Yeah, exactly. He's done that before, and here he catches a Queen. Very nice pick off. The Queen is going to be going down. Rogue making his way into the mineral, and as well, drones are under fire. Ooh, and Ryan is rushing into Roaches, but they're still not done yet.
They are not. We're going to have a couple of... Okay, those are Ryan's Banelings. Green and blue, that's definitely a color combination. Not as bad as green and red, surprisingly, in TVZ.
There you go. And here we go. NXZ, he droned up to 31, and he's moving out across the map with Ling, Roach, Bane. It's going to be an all-in here out of Ryan. The third base is just for show. It's just for Larva, but Rogue is staying on 2 bases, so it's not going to be easy to break this 2-base setup.
Especially when you have a full wall like this. I mean, maybe if the Banelings focus down the building Evo chamber, but now we have a couple of Roaches out for Rogue as well. We have plenty of high-NG Queens. There's a lot of transfuse potential here. We do get a surrounded Roaches, though.
Yeah, we're going to be slowly working our way in. Banelings are on the way as well. Queens being targeted down. Banelings will be able to make it through, and can they get into the mineral lines? Up.
Gonna try. A lot of these drones start to bunch up. The Queen's a little bit distracted with the Roaches on the front line. Roaches distracted with the Roaches on the front line. Rogue does split up his drones very, very nicely, though. And in the end, he may still lose them.
I mean, some drones are going down, but we defend. We clean up the Roaches. GG gets called. Rogue, he does hold. He does survive. And Rogue takes game number 1.
GG. Very nicely done.
It was definitely close though. Like again, if the splitting was any worse, if the Banelings got some good connections, if we were able to cripple the economy of Rogue, then maybe NXZ could have gone into a longer game and tried to macro out of it. But unfortunately, the splitting was too good, and Rogue barely lost any drones there in the defense.
Yeah, I mean, his drone drilling was just on point. His splitting was on point as well. We could see that there was a moment in that final engagement where Rogue just did not care at all about the Banelings, focused entirely on the Roaches, because he knew he could split up his drones well enough that even if the Banelings did connect, as they did, he would still be able to minimize his losses.
Oh yeah. And we'll see if we can try to catch Rogue off guard this time here. It was, again, a crazy game out of NXZ, and he almost caught Rogue with his pants down. Again, that was a clutch defense out of Rogue. It was almost going the way of Ryan, but we'll see. So getting into game 2.
Indeed, we are, as we load into Ghost River. We're over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right. We, of course, have our blue Zerg player coming out from
Korea.
The land not down under, the Korea land, the land of the dwarves, as I've been told pretty recently.
Excuse me?
That's apparently a meme that's been circulating on like Naver and stuff. Korea is the dwarven kingdom.
But Kim Lee's
I'll find a
from
link
Korea.
at some point later on.
Saying?
Apparently, yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Because, you know, both Korea and the Dwarven lands are very mountainous. I don't remember what the full thing is, but yeah, that's apparently a thing. Anyway, here we have a player who is not a dwarf when it comes to his legend and his results and his reputation, a titan, if you will, of the scene and of Zerg. He is a blue Zerg player representing Team Falcons. We have Rogue.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Australian Zerg player, the returning veteran, retired for a long time, but making his re-debut, his comeback, if you will, after a long hiatus, representing himself, currently teamless, representing the kids out there. It is Ryan NXZ Jones.
Fellow kids.
True. Feels bad. Like, don't bring up how old he is, okay? You'll make him smooch.
There's the other option where it's not just Ryan, but Ryan and Kellisa. It's how do you do, fellow Singapore players?
There you go.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with adopting Ryan and Diego.
Yeah, that's fine. We accept them. We accept them. As for now, it was a Hatchgas full standard opener out of Ryan. Meanwhile, Rogue did go for a 15-15, bit of a safer opener out of Rogue instead. There's a reason why Rogue has not been able to start link speed, unlike his opponent, and that is because Rogue did delay his gases. So because the gases have been delayed, it's possible that Rogue might skip link speed, wall off, and play 2 base again.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trickier map to do so on Ghost River, as obviously it's a much shorter rush distance than on Oceanborn, and it looks like Ryan is gambling or hope banking on the idea that Rogue is gonna assume that Ryan's playing aggressive again, because that's a much earlier third.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a standard third base timing here out of Ryan, unlike the previous games, and we can see that Rogue is walling up. He's walling up on 2 bases. He is indeed skipping Ling speed, so he's going to try to skip the Ling Bane phase of the game and go straight towards Roach play instead.
Yeah, which I think really does suit how he's played so far, or rather what he's been able to glean from his opponent in NXZ. He knows that the Roaches are probably a lot more reliable when it comes to defending and then going for a counter aggression, especially on such a short rush as this map, like Ghost River. So, all in all, I'm liking this move a lot for Rogue.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he wants to just settle down, get into his game. He does fully wall off. Meanwhile, Ryan has, of course, recognized there is no third base, that there is a full wall, and Ryan is skipping his bathing nest, very similar to what Rex did. Rex got punished for it, but this time Rogue isn't going for like a link flood across the map. So, you know, we're going to be able to get away with canceling and skipping the bathing nest and getting into roach play as well.
Yeah. So surprisingly, the shortest map in the current map pool is going to be the one that we actually do see a little bit of mid-game play coming out from our players. Not too much. I can't imagine we'll be seeing too much. I can't imagine we'll have a Hydra Den or anything like that thrown down. I'm not even sure if we're going to get a single Ravager this series, but yeah, we're at least not coming right off the gates with that link game aggression.
Yeah, and the question becomes, is Rogue going to even expand, right? Is he going to take a third base, or is he going to go all in on two bases? We have the answer. He is breaking out. The drone is on the way, and he is attempting to take that third.
This drone has its own Vanguard, but it's not going to save it. Nice little pick off here for NXZ.
Yeah, he does pick off that worker, but roaches are amassing. Okay, backup drone on the way. Rogue is still going to expand, and Ryan does need to confirm this. NXZ does need to confirm that there is indeed a base on the way, as back at home, Ryan is focusing on his own roach aggression, on his own roach production.
Yep. He knows that he is very vulnerable right now. He's just about poked the bear. So even though Rogue is still going to be going for this third base, I mean, there's no way for him to saturate it right now. He might as well just make more roaches. And what do you do when you make a lot of roaches? You go across the map. I stand corrected. We actually are seeing Ravagers.
Yeah, Ravagers are on the way. Rogue is going for a two-base all-in. The third is just for Larva. Just for Larva. Rogue, he has cut workers. He's on 43 drones. That is all he has. And we're moving out across the map. We're hoping to supply block NXZ as well. And it's all or nothing. Can Ryan hold? Can he survive this?
We shall see. He's going to have the defender's advantage on his side. Obviously, he doesn't have any Ravagers, so it's going to be tricky for him to force Micro out from Rogue. Rogue will have a lot of AoE potential, especially if NXZ gets back into a choke point.
Yeah, the Queen gets sniped, so that will impact the injects here of Ryan. He's started stepping forward. He does avoid, for the most part, the Vials. He's trying to get on top of the Queens.
Trying to, and he is taking out the roaches one by one. The transfuses, though, the clutch transfuses from Rogue are really coming in clutch.
Yeah, and we're getting into the Ravagers as well. Nice target firing out of NXZ. He does focus down almost every single Ravager. There's 3 Ravagers left. Oh, but it did cost us a lot of supply.
Indeed, it did. Rogue still has a lot of workers or supply left over to keep this momentum going. NXZ, he's got the defender's advantage, and roaches are about to pop, but if they trickle in, then that's exactly what Rogue wants to happen. The Queens overextending a little bit, and they are going to go down. It looks like Ryan has held.
Oh, he does barely hold on. Very nice control out of Ryan. He was so slick there when it came to micring and when it came to focus firing every single Ravager. There's 1 Ravager remaining, but Rogue has lost the backbone of his army. And again, the longer this goes on, the better it is for NXZ, as he does have the greater economy. Well, as I say that, though, Rogue is still just hammering down that arc. He is still trying to force his way up the ramp. +2 is on the way. Rogue is droning.
Yeah, he knows that he has to get back up. He knows that he can't quite break Ryan from this position here. So Ryan, he scouts through the lanes. He confirms, yep, that is Rogue droning. I can have a little bit of map control as a treat.
Oh, exactly, as NXZ, he's gonna actually continue to move out across the map. He's hoping to maybe try to catch Rogue droning, as Rogue has been able to saturate his bases up to an even worker count of his opponents. And Ryan, he does commit up the ramp.
Yeah, dodges a bile, but there's still plenty of roaches and Ravagers. The defender's advantage this time on Rogue's side. Just the wrong call to make, unfortunately. GG, Rogue gonna be taking that series 2-0. Whew, GG.
GG, well played. A very clutch game there. Honestly, it was a very impressive defense there out of NXZ. But as we saw with that move out, NXZ, he was hoping that maybe Rogue was droning up more than he was. He was hoping that maybe he would just fully saturate his natural and there'd be a window where he could take advantage of Rogue. As we saw, Rogue was more than ready on top of the ramp, and he had more than enough to deal with it.
Yeah, that was a game that I think was kind of going NXZ's favor until it wasn't. Until he moved across the map like that, and I can't say I blame him too much. I mean, he saw an opportunity to potentially attack Rogue while he had his pants down, but Rogue, he had a pretty tight belt in the form of a whole bunch of roaches and ravagers. NXZ was not gonna be able to really punish him at that specific point.
Yeah, was unable to punish him then and there. It was close though. It was a very close game, and I hope NXZ doesn't feel too bad about that performance. He got 2-0 by Rogue, and Rogue is one of the best players in the world, so there's no shame in that. And NXZ didn't look too bad in the series either, so I'm hoping that it inspires him to commit a little bit more and to maybe play more often. NXZ, he has been very anxious about returning to the competitive scene.
I have to ask, where is Ryan located right now?
Right now, he's back in Australia.
Oh, okay. Because I remember he was mentioning, dude, the ping in Singapore, dude, that was... That's like, ideal.
It was definitely ideal. I was telling him that, I was like, mate, when you were in Singapore, you should have been like laddering as much as possible. He's like, I had other priorities, Papi. I was he was working on his career, he was working on other things, which of course makes sense, but yeah, regardless, it's cool to have Ryan back. He only returned recently, like a week or two ago, to Australia.
Oof.
Very recent.
Yeah. But you know what? That's also ideal because now he plays with the leg weights of high ping.
Yeah.
It's better for him in the long run.
Exactly. He's gonna be training with those weighted clothing. So best of luck to Ryan on his ladder endeavors. And I hope that isn't the last we've seen of Ryan. I hope we're able to cast him and feature him in more events in the future, whether it's ESL Asia, whether it's ESL Americas, whether it's Sparkling Tuna Cup. I'm sure we'll see more of Ryan. We'll pressure him into signing up.
We need non-Protoss players.
We do. We really do. Unironically.
But with that was a very quick little series we had, but not the only one, as Rogue already has an opponent waiting for him in the semifinals. Rogue versus Scarlet, as EVZs keep on coming. But at the very least, this does confirm that we're not going to have a mirror matchup grand finals.
Yeah, we have those updates. As you can see here, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the brackets. Scarlet is up against Rogue in the upper semifinals. Scarlet did take down Rebellion 2-0. Yeah, likewise, Lancer takes down Lunacy 2-1 as well.
Yeah, pretty good results here for Lancer. Going to be facing either Nightmare or Iba, who I say were guaranteed not a mirror matchup in the finals, but you never know. Iba might decide to play Protoss, off-race his Protoss, and Scarlet might decide to off-race his Protoss.
Technically, a PvP finals is still possible. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Or Iba might play Zerg, and Scarlet decides not to off-race. You know, there are possibilities right now. The math and the chances and the statistics.
Oh yeah, it is still possible here, but for now vetoes are underway, and as you mentioned, our next series is going to be Scarlet versus Rogue. We're going to be following that into either the grand finals or the lower semis. It all does depend on how fast or how slow the lower matches are, likewise ours as well. Yeah, we'll see if we can maybe squeeze in the lower semis as well.
We'll see if we can hit the coveted 1.5 hour broadcast. Or less than 2 hour long broadcast. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll get to the grand finals. We'll play all 5 games, but none of them will last beyond 7 minutes.
Exactly. So it looks like the vetoes are done, and we're going to be jumping in. And for the first time tonight, Dynasty is game 1.
Yeah. I mean, it is the first time tonight, but keep in mind, we've only casted 2 series so far.
True.
And that's just how condensed and compact our bracket has been tonight. We're already in the semis, and it's been about an hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are speeding through the bracket, speeding through the tournament. But as you mentioned, the vetoes are done. We're jumping into our first semifinals, and if you're in the chat, predictions are open.
That they are, so go ahead and get your gamba going. if you're in one of those countries that allows for Gamba. If not, then VPN. That might be a way. Or you could just not Gamba. I'm obligated to say that at the end there, just because of where I live. But yeah, you could just not Gamba. Never think about it that way. Anyway, we're coming in over here on Dynasty LE. We're of course here in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left. We have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. We of course have our blue Zerg player representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Canadian Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlet.
Not going for the safer expansion, neither of them.
Yeah, here we go. So a ZVZ or mirror matchup on Dynasty. We are rushing into the gold base, and I'm curious how aggressive we're going to be because this is going to be a big boost to the mineral income to both players.
Yeah, there's a lot of link potential when you get that gold very, very early on. I guess in ZVZ you don't really have too much to worry about. You can. There's not going to be any range units out this early on, at least none that can go across the map, which is why I support Proxy Hatch on this map. I think it works out really well.
You're an animal, Pappy. You're an animal. Yeah, I'm curious, right? As you mentioned, we only have Lingbane to work with early on, so we could be seeing a bit of a different approach from our players. We could try to rush and avoid Lingbane and go into Roaches, try to punish the gold of the opposing player, or we could just embrace just Lingbane aggression, trying to break through into the main base instead. I'll be honest, I haven't seen too many ZVZs this season. Like, period. Not even just on Dynasty, but in general, we've been casting very few Zerg versus Zerg matchups. A big reason for that is because in our region, right, like, Miyamika is less active, Gogojoy is less active, Demi's less active, and yeah, even in the Open Cups as well, it's been all about the Protoss.
Yeah. These Polish Protoss players.
Yeah. Unironically. True. Oh.
The posse, if you will, Scarlet opting for a much earlier Roach Warren, compared to Rogue, who is getting a Baneling Nest.
Yeah, so Scarlet is skipping Banelings, rushing into very fast Roach production. Ooh, Ling Scout is going to be coming in, and Rogue, it looks like he does get behind the mineral line.
He will get eyes on the Roach Warren. He will confirm the gold, and he knows exactly how to hold against this. Scarlet now switching things up, opting for a Baneling Nest behind all of this, but once again, it gets scouted by Rogue.
Yeah, the Baneling Nest is going to be on the way. Rogue quickly checking. He saw the Roach Warren. He actually did barely not see the Baneling Nest, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be for an all-in. The Baneling Nest is just going to be to help protect these Roaches as Roaches are moving out across the map, and Scarlet's going to be doubling down. Rogue is going to have to defend with purely Lingbane.
He didn't scout the Baneling Nest. Oh, that is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is scary. We
but
should be...
Like Yep. No, I was just going to say, like you said, Rogue himself has opted for a Baneling Nest, though, so yeah, 1 or 2 safety Banes is pretty standard in this matchup.
Yeah, the way this all-in works is that the Roaches, they're kind of the backbone of the army. The Banelings are here to protect the Roaches, to make sure they don't get surrounded. So it's all about these Banelings to make sure the Lings do not get surrounded the Roaches. If that's possible, then the game could just end here and now, as Rogue is trying to catch reinforcements. Oh god!
Almost getting sandwiched here with Banelings. Rogue losing a couple of workers here and there to the Roach harass, but he does pull them away in time. Scarlet now catching, or getting caught a little bit in the middle of the map, still trying to catch all of these Lings with her own Ling Bane. But otherwise, these Roaches are just going to keep on going. Yeah,
but the Roaches are getting surrounded. Again, the Ling Bane is going to be zoned away. Scarlet is split up. She's spread out, and that means that these Roaches are being targeted down one after the other. Rogue taking advantage of the chaos here. And back at home, we have a Roach Warren on the way. Rogue so far looking good. So far, he is holding. Lings, do you manage to slip into the natural?
Yeah, we do get a full surround on the Queen, but that's pretty much the only thing that's going to go down here. Scarlet lying in wait, waiting to pounce on top of all these Lings, but unfortunately won't quite get them. We'll get the Baneling. which is something.
Yeah, we'll get the Bailing at least, but Rogue has now saturation at the goal base. We're going to be rallying Ling Bane headed in this direction. I'm curious if we can, we can't quite get on top of them, unfortunately, and Rogue is holding on for the time being. Economies are still quite comparable between our players. Likewise, Scarlet, her goal base has been left untouched this entire time.
Yeah, still able to reap the benefits of that additional mineral income, but the unfortunate thing for Scarlet here is that even though she technically has the higher army supply, she's very much spread out on the map, and Rogue, with his Lings, are able to just catch reinforcements left and right.
Yeah, once again, though, denying mining time at the goal base, so Rogue is going to be on a 2-base economy, but worse than that of Scarlet, and here we go. We have a couple of Roaches, we have a couple of Ravagers. Is this going to barely be enough? Oh.
Well, we'll see. Taking out the Baneling as it was morphing in was absolutely crucial, but now there are no Banelings left one way or another. Scarlet coming in with her entire army. She's up on army supply. Rogue, though, with the defender's advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be close. We're getting on some of the Queens. The Queens are going out.
GG called.
Yeah, GG gets called, and Scarlet barely breaks through and will take game number 1.
Whew. Nicely done here.
GG, well played. A very, very intense game there, and even though Scarlet was getting surrounded, even though Scarlet was losing Roaches, what's important is that Scarlet was still getting some drone kills and denying mining time at the goal base and just causing chaos on Rogue's half of the map. Back at home, she was freely mining and her economy was untouched the entire game.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, when you take away your opponent's gold, they don't have a gold.
True. That's facts.
Yeah.
His facts here, and Scarlet does take a lead, 1 game away from making it to the grand finals, bearing in mind as well that Rogue, even though he hasn't been back for too long after the military service, he has risen the ranks very quickly. We spoke about it before, about a DreamHack Dallas. Rogue, he was able to bring Solar down twice in the group stage, knocking Solar out of the tournament. Like, Rogue has some devastating ZVZ.
Yeah, it wasn't just that he took down Solar. It was a Solar who was arguably the best Zerg player in Korea at the time, and quite possibly the best ZVZ player in the world at the time. It was absolutely insane for Rogue to come in and just say, "Nope, I'm gonna make you overthink, and I'm gonna take your spot in the playoffs.
I'm gonna make you fly home early," which did happen.
Yeah, it did.
Oh god.
He just turned around. He went right back to the airport after that. He didn't even pack. He didn't even check out of the hotel and get his luggage. He was like, "Yep, you know what? Maru will bring it back for me."
True. Smurge.
But regardless, we're going to be continuing our series now on Post-Youth, the other interesting map in the current map pool. So, yeah, I'd love to see it when these two players face off against each other. Over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea, the land of dwarves, if you will. We have, representing Team Falcons, we have Rogue.
Yaku, I think you need to calm down. I think
I need to calm up.
You need to calm down, Poppy. It's not. You're hurting everyone's ears. That's spawning in the top right-hand corner. We do have our Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlet. Here we
What's
go.
wrong with my Falcon cry?
It's not a falcon. It's crying. It's what it's. That's the problem, Yaku. Is the falcon is crying. It's crying out for help, and you need to let it breathe.
Oh,
leave it alone.
Just like. Oh wait, this is spoilers. Never mind. I was gonna say just like that new Planet of the Apes, but
there you go.
That is spoilers.
Meanwhile, we're settling into a very interesting opener. I believe Scarlet did go for a... Okay, I was going to say 15-15. There was an extractor trick earlier on, which means Scarlet has some later gas mining compared to Rogue, but just a slight variation here from Scarlet as we're settling into our openers. It was a slightly faster spawning pull out of Scarlet, just being safe.
Yeah, it was a 15-15. It was just a 15.
Yeah. So with that, the gases again are going to be a little bit delayed here, and we are skipping link speed with it. We're going right into that lair. Both players are.
You already know what it's gonna be. You already know what it's gonna be from here.
Are we going two base Muta versus two base Muta? Is that happening right now? We're taking more gases.
Taking more gas. Ooh. Scarlet yet to take the second, third, or fourth gas. Rogue. Oh no, they both have double gas. All right.
Yeah, I'm curious here. So Scarlet throws down the Roach Warren, is walling up on two bases with that Roach Warren. I'm curious if Scarlet will invest into Roaches or head in a different direction. Likewise, Rogue has yet to throw down any tech structure. Taking all four gases, we're going for the lair. Rogue is at least embracing two base Muta. It has to be, right?
Yeah, I love to see it.
Just for you, Yaku. Just for you.
Or at least I do. Yeah, it's very common on this map, I found. It's a good map for it. It's got a lot of... You can kind of avoid a lot of the ground. There's a Spire.
You can, right? You can avoid a lot of the ground. You can avoid a lot of the choke points out there. But what I'm concerned about, like, this is cool, right? Like, we're rushing into two-base Muta, but that means we have no Bathing Nest, we have no Roach Warren, we are vulnerable, and Scarlet is going two-base Roach. Scarlet is going for a much earlier push, and Rogue, he might get caught out.
But you know what? Roaches. They don't shoot up.
They don't. I don't think they need to. The Spire is barely not halfway done. We're amassing Roaches, and Scarlet is about to go for a big two-base all-in. And if Rogue has nothing on the ground, then that could just be game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of Lings, but they're hardly going to be useful if they can't get their surrounds. And it's kind of tricky to get surrounds when you have a massive ball of Roaches like that. They're just so much thicker than what you can wrap around with your Lings.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be avoiding the Overlords. Meanwhile, Spine Coolers are on the way. Lings going for a big counterattack, and they're buying time. They're dragging the Roaches back home for a moment with Scarlet. She says no. She keeps on pushing. We have a wall back at home. We have Roaches the whole position. Scarlet will defend with the bare minimum, and we're committing.
Yeah, might as well at this point. We have more Roaches on the way. Scarlet, she scents blood in the water. She knows that Rogue is vulnerable now. Do have a wall of Spine Crawlers, but they're not up just yet. They cannot be transfused. And even if they could, I mean, there's just barely any energy here on these Queens. But the Lings coming up from behind. You'll be able to take out a Queen. Gonna be able to distract the army long enough for these Spine Crawlers to get up and running.
Yeah, the Spine Crawlers, they are done. We have transfused on the Queens. The Mutas are on the way. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Rogue. Scarlet is on a bit of a timer. We have to end the game here and now. We have Ravagers on the way. That will help when it comes to knocking down this wall, when it comes to knocking down those Spines, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, time which Rogue is looking to steal from Scarlet. Mutalists pop out, but they don't actually go across the map immediately. They're fighting here as part of the defense.
Yeah, they focus on
out a little bit.
Yeah, they focus on the Queen. They're focusing on the Roaches as well. One Spine Crawler goes down. Second Spine Crawler goes down. But we are running out of steam. How much will we have left over as we're breaking our way through? The final Spine Crawler will fall. We get into the mineral line.
Yeah, the rest of the Mutas now coming into play. 7 drones fall, 8 drones fall. And there's some really good damage, but how many of Scarlet's drones are going to fall once Rogue goes across the map of all these Mutas?
Yeah, not just the drones, a lot of Overlords going to be going down as well. That's already 2 Overlords, soon to be 3, soon to be 4. We're racing back home. Spores are on the way. Queens are amassing as well. Scarlet should be able to defend on 2 bases with these Spores, but this also means that Rogue is free to expand and take a third.
Yeah, you can expand, take a third, grab more drones, drone up. And the Spore Calls are about to finish up, but we have so many Mutas that, there we go, GG is called. Rogue gonna be tying things up 1-1. I was gonna say Rogue can kind of dive in and dive out as if those Mutas were oracles.
Oh yeah, GG, well played. Rogue was able to barely or successfully defend. I say barely defend. It was so smart of Rogue to go for the Link counterattack to drag away the army of Scarlet, to buy a little bit extra time and to eventually get the surround as well. There was no answer to the Mutas. They got across the map just in time. And that means we're making our way into the ace match.
That was a very quick reaction and the correct reaction coming out from Rogue here to just immediately, after scouting those Roaches making their way across the map, without even thinking, just grab the Spine Crawlers, distract the army, set up for a bit of a flank, and then just carry on as usual. Get more Mutas after that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. It didn't even need to progress into a longer game, into a third base. The Mutas were enough, and with that, we're headed into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Golden Aura.
For our semifinals, anyway. As we load into Golden Aura LE, where of course over here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right, we have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing his team, Team Falcons. Ah! Ah! He is a rogue.
Shaking my head. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. Getting forced into the ace match. Can we bring it back? It is Scarlet.
Okay.
Yeah, this time hatch first.
Yeah. Hatch first, coming out from both of our players. Once again, neither of them really wanting to risk anything too much here on the ace match. It is also a very big and wide open map compared to the previous two. This is probably... Ooh, I say that, but that's a hatchery.
Yeah, I noticed Scarlet did not take a gas, did not take a spawning pool. It's going to be a 3-hatch opener, triple hatch opener even. This looks like an Ender build. This looks like a Link Flood.
You know, yeah, I'm just stunned and silent. It has been a long time since we've seen this, and we'll see if she's going to be able to make it work. Now, this is a very effective build if it catches your opponent off guard. This is how Ender defeated, I want to say, Nice, potentially, back in the day. But we'll see. It's, especially on a map like Golden Aura, if it's scouted early on, I do feel like Rogue is going to have a lot of time to set up a defense.
I'm curious if there's any kind of kinship between Ender and Scarlet. I know Ender started streaming StarCraft again like a week ago. He started competing again. It was really cool to see his return into StarCraft, like 2 weeks ago, I think, in total. And Scarlet is, you know, currently residing in China, so maybe now that they're in the same time zone, maybe they traded some builds and they traded some playstyles. I'm curious as to the origin of this. But yeah, basically with this macro hatchery, we have a lot of larva. We have a lot of larva early on, and this should lead into a Link Flood. I'm curious if it will. Ender does like to switch things up and sometimes go into a more macro game from here and try to force an overreaction out of his opponent. So I'm curious how Scarlet will adapt to this and whether or not she embraces kind of Ender's approach.
Yeah, for now we are just setting ourselves up, saturating our 2 bases. But beyond that, she's going to have a lot of options on her hands. I don't see any more gas being taken, and we're still mining gas, but not very efficiently.
Yeah, I'm curious if this gas mining is only for a Baneling nest. Scarlet is still working towards 50 gas for that eventual Baneling nest, or maybe for some further tech. As Ling production has now begun for Scarlet. You can see she's fully saturated on 2 bases, and yeah, it's nothing but Lings.
I did not realize that Baneling nest was that cheap gas-wise.
Yeah.
50 gas? That's it? Jeez.
And for now,
we'll ask for 0 gas.
True. Get on that balance team, and there it is. Okay, Roach Worm behind this. It's going to be a Link Flood followed by Roaches. Interesting. There's going to be layers to this push. Second gas is now being taken. Meanwhile, Rogue back at home is getting into his own 2-base Roach play himself.
Yeah, he has that 3rd, but hasn't saturated it just yet. It is only a 3rd base for larva to aid in the defense. A lot of roaches are about to pop out, but it can quite easily be surrounded at this stage.
Yeah, so we're going to be diving on the 3rd base, going for a kill, and it looks like we have no transfuse. The hatchery is going to go down.
And now Scarlet needs to get the hell away from all these roaches and queens.
Yeah, we're going to be rotating around. We're keeping Rogue busy, keeping him pinned on 2 bases. Behind this, Scarlet is joining up, taking gases, and this should be for +1 Carabase and Ling Ravager, I imagine. That would be a good way to make use of all these Lings. We'll see how Scarlet does tech from here.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the Roachborn.
Let's have the Roachborn.
Yeah, just confirming that for anybody who thought they might be hallucinating.
Yes, we are just trying
I see it too, you know? It's not, you know?
There you go. He's just keeping tabs on Rogue. Again, Rogue is going to be more defensive here. Hasn't droned up too much. Rogue has not taken his 4th gas geyser in the main. Is working towards the lair. That should be for Roach speed before we move out across the map. But again, I'm curious whether it's going to be carapace. No, it's going to be +1 range. Okay, Scarlet is going to try to work towards Roach Ravager, but Rogue has a massive Roach army, and yeah, we're just kind of waiting for his moment. As Scarlet actually cancels +1 range.
Oh, okay. Taking a bit more of a defensive posture here by canceling +1 range and getting +1 carapace instead. If we had a Baneling Nest, I would assume that maybe she does want to go keep up the aggression, but we don't, so...
She's going for an all-in. +1 carapace is going to be for an all-in, and so is Rogue. Basically, this is a really good way to go into Ling Ravager, as we mentioned before, so we should be morphing in as many Ravagers as possible from Scarlet, and the goal is going to be to lock down the army with the Lings, and then, well, of course, with those Ravagers as well. But yeah, this is a very aggressive follow-up here from both players.
Got a little 1-2 punch coming at you. Scarlet, of course, going to have that advantage with Ling-wise, going to be able to get better surrounds, I would imagine, on top of all these roaches, but we'll see. Rogue has a lot more roaches. At a certain point, you know, it's kind of difficult to surround them when they act as their own buffer.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if we can. I mean, ideally, Rogue moves out, and then Scarlet can catch Rogue out of the open. For now, we're massing up more Lings. We should be morphing in the Ravagers. There they go. Ravagers are on the way, and we'll see if Scarlet can execute this. Again, the ideal is for Rogue to push into Scarlet, just so we can catch Rogue out in the open. That's going to be the ideal position for Scarlet.
Are we just going to be playing Roach Ravager Chicken at this point?
It's possible.
Rogue knows that Scarlet wants him to push into her. Scarlet knows that if she moves out, then she's vulnerable. So, but here we go, the push out, the move out coming out here from Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue is moving out, and Scarlet is going to be getting ready for this round. But the Lings, ooh, they almost get caught out. A couple of Lings are shaved off. Scarlet has to back off. That means she's not set up for a surround, but she's getting ready. She's getting ready for that mass surround. Again, we have so many Lings. The purpose here is to lock down the army.
We'll see if she can get there. The Roaches right now are looking not necessarily split up, but a little bit thin, and with a couple of cracks here and there. Biles will unfortunately get a bit of friendly fire, and it looks like Scarlet starting to get sandwiched between these two Roaches.
Yeah, she's unable to lock down the army, unable to get the surrounds here. Roaches, they're getting on top of the Ravagers, and Rogue is breaking through. Do you have some decent connections on the left-hand side? They're going to be some okay connections.
Yeah, Scarlet going to be able to deal with the left flank, but what about on the right side?
Yeah, we'll see, as once again we're getting some of the Ravagers as well. The Lings have to push forward.
And they're going to try to get those surrounds. Ooh! Poor Ravager.
Yeah, a bit of friendly fire. Lings, they try to surround, but they barely cannot get a surround on these Roaches. Rogue, he's too slippery. Well, he did live up those Roaches, and we target fire every single Ravager.
Yeah, GG is called, and Rogue going to be taking that series 2-1. Becoming, I believe, our first finalist of the evening.
GG, well played. Rogue will take it again. Scarlet, I should give some praise to Rogue when it came to his army movement. When he first moved out with his split Roaches, that was ideal. If he had moved out in one big blob, then the chances of getting surrounded is a lot easier, a lot higher. That was what Scarlet was hoping for, but because Rogue had split up his army, a surround wasn't possible, and Scarlet did not get that ideal situation where she was able to get a full surround and lock down the army and get the Biles to connect. It was a risky move out of Scarlet. Again, she was all in, and we saw what happens if you're unable to get the surrounds. Rogue, likewise, really, really quick to maneuver his army and to avoid that.
Yeah, it's really a scenario that you put yourself in. It's a scenario that requires you to control your units almost perfectly. Or at the very least be able to get that sequence of events down just right to be able to lock down your opponent's Roaches, bile them down as well, hope that, you know, they're not going to be able to kill that 1 or 2 Lings that is the only thing keeping them in place, and then slip away right at the end there. But Rogue, yeah, he's just too slippery. Those Roaches, just a little bit too looped up.
Yeah. Exactly. So smooth, so quick with those roaches, able to avoid those biles, avoid the surrounds. GG, well played. Rogue, as you mentioned, is our first finalist and is waiting for the winner of Lancer and Nightmare.
Yeah, that CVP finals is assured. Lancer versus Nightmare. I believe they just sent it game number 1 or something like that. Their series should have just started. So there's a pretty good chance that we're going to be able to jump into that midway.
Oh yeah, we should be able to jump into either game 2 or game 3, but they're currently in game, so we will have a bit of downtime before that does occur. But at least we're able to finally cast something not Zerg.
Ideally, yeah. We will have to cast Zerg eventually in the end here, but we might be able to have a little bit of a brief reprieve.
Yes, we're going to be going on a short break, so if you're out there, if you want some more StarCraft, we're going to be back in a couple of minutes with the remainder of Nightmare versus Lancer with the PvP, and we'll follow that into the grand finals. So 2 series left, or 1.5 series remaining here in the broadcast. Bit of a shorter broadcast.
Yeah, well, so that happens when we have just a perfect best of 12, or round of 12. Now, best of 12 is different.
We'll get there. Well,
so eventually.
Yeah, take this moment, get some snacks, get some water, go to the bathroom. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes with the lower semis.
We'll see you then. And we are back. Hope you were able to get some snacks and what have you, and all of that other juicy fruit. Some good fruit. Fruit is a really good snack to have. I haven't had fruit in a couple of days. I'm feeling my energy getting drained.
What
because of
fruit?
that.
What fruit are you craving right now? What do you want?
I could go for some kiwis, some green kiwis.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
Nice
kiwi,
and
mate.
tart and sour. Ooh, it's good. It's the best food in the world. Go for some peaches.
Huh?
Peaches are pretty good. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on?
Peaches are good because you don't have to cut them. You can just bite into them.
What are your thoughts
you only
on?
have that one seed to worry about.
Is it called sunset
There's no
kiwis,
waste.
the orange ones?
Oh, I just call them. Are they called? Wait, orange or yellow?
Yellow.
Because I know the
yellow.
yellow kiwis are called like golden kiwis.
Okay.
They're all right, but I prefer the green kiwis because the yellow ones are a bit sweet. Which, I mean, I'll still eat them. All kiwis are good kiwis. You know, golden kiwis or green kiwis, they're all good. But I do prefer the green ones.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyway, speaking of talking TEDs, we are going to be jumping into this particular best of 3 semifinals midway. We have confirmation that we're loading into Dynasty, where we're here in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right. We have our player with the 1-point advantage in this best of 3, so yeah, already a match point, which I guess shouldn't be that surprising if you followed this player's career. He is coming down and representing Bleed Esports, I believe? Himself, as he's currently teamless with someone else representing Bleed. We have Nightmare.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. Predictions are open, by the way. Get your gambler going. Predictions open for a couple of seconds. We have the Orange Protoss representing Mystery Gaming from the land of China. It is Lancer. Here we go. And yes, Nightmare was... Oh, gets a full surround. Nightmare was on Bleed, but no longer. They had him on Bleed, but once Nightmare didn't qualify for EWC, then he was let go.
That's the unfortunate cutthroatness, or the unfortunate what's the word I'm thinking of here, Light?
It is kind of, yeah, it is a
The-
brutal system, right? It's very unforgiving.
Yeah.
As you know, EWC is the most important event, and a lot of the teams were hoping to get representation in that tournament.
Yeah. Representation, wanting to spread out the, going for that little bounty, which is, definitely nice to have. It does encourage teams and established esports organizations into looking into picking up players from different esports. But yeah, the unfortunate flip side to that is it also encourages them to have very short contracts in that way.
Yeah, so we are going to be embracing our PvP. It's going to be a 2-gate opener all around. Nightmare's going to be expanding. He does get 2 adepts across the map, but it looks like Lancer, he does wall off just in time. He does not allow the adepts in, and Lancer does defend. Oh.
Like so. Will not quite be able to take out an adept, but still will be able to not take any economic damage so far. The flank, though, coming in here with this 1 adept.
Yeah, the flanking adept getting some hull damage on the Stalker. Not too bad, as Nightmare has not lost a single unit so far, and getting hull damage on the Stalker, it does have a lot of value. Behind this, both players are expanding, and both players are embracing Twilight Councils.
That they are. Both players are expanding, but Lancer is being a little bit cheeky with this pylon. Ordinarily, I would say that that's a fake out. He's going to pretend to be cannon rushing, but that probe's still hanging around there.
Yeah, this means we can warp in over the other side of the wall. We can warp in right into the main base of Nightmare, so a very cheeky pylon location. We'll see if we can make use of it. Meanwhile, Nightmare continues to check the defenses here across the map and will slip into the main. Oh, but doesn't come into the shade.
Yeah, those probes are looking pretty vulnerable, but I guess there was too much hull damage on these adepts, so Nightmare doesn't quite want to risk it.
Yeah, it doesn't risk it, not yet. Nightmare pulling away, preserving all of his units. I'm loving the setup here on the high ground as well, luring down the Stalkers and getting some free damage. Oh, we look them down!
Beautifully done here from the side of Nightmare.
That is
And
crazy. I
this
haven't
is
seen that
why-
before.
Neither have I. And this is why Nightmare, for the longest time, had something like an 80% win rate in PvP.
Exactly. PvP is his kind of playground here. We've seen Nightmare bring down Hero, we've seen Nightmare bring down Classic. He has some of the best PvP in Korea. He does shut down the pylon, but there is a backup pylon a little bit further back. So Lancer, he does still have an ability here to at least warp in aggressively across the map.
Very aggressively, as that is a gateway coming down. Doesn't even need to worry about a warp prism. He can just warp in fast. He can just fast warp in from there. He can focus his robo facility on producing nothing but immortals.
Yeah, so Lancer, he has 3 gates back at home, he has a 4th gateway across the map, and he still has not expanded. So this is a bit of a tell. Yep, there we go, more gates on the way. It looks like a 2-base all-in out of Lancer. Nightmare is going for a longer game. He only has 2 gateways back at home, so he's down in production, he's expanding, he's investing into a 3rd base. Nightmare is vulnerable, and Lancer, he's gearing up to move out.
Yeah. The time is soon.
Oh my god.
Throwing down even more gateways.
Jesus.
He is double, triple, quadrupling down on this all-in.
Exactly. It is a 2-base all-in out of Lancer. What is scary about this is that it's hard to scout because so much production is proxied. So even if Nightmare got into the main, it's not enough of a tell to really confirm what exactly is going on. So Nightmare is in the dark. He has to play this carefully, has to play this safely. But does he even know he has to be safe? That's the problem. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, if he doesn't, he might just happily continue to probe up and continue to expand. I mean, his 3rd base is finished, which is actually good for him, as it allows him to have a battery overcharge over in this position, but he needs to warp in more units right now.
Yeah, exactly, as Lancer is up in army supply, not by too much, but is still up in supply. We have 3 more gates on the way, they're still not done. We can only warp in 2 units at a time, so Nightmare's reinforcements are limited, and here comes the army of Lancer.
This battery overcharge is going to have to work overtime, and it's actually not going to be available because it ends up dying.
A nice force field. We lock down a lot of stalkers here, so Nightmare, he does clean up some of the army, but he loses 11 probes in the process, and the Immortals are still up and running, they're still standing strong. There's still 2 Immortals here for Lancer.
Yeah, and 2 is, fun fact, 1 and 1, which is the amount of Immortals that Nightmare currently has. We do have a blink right on top of the Immortals, but I think that might be a bit of a patience blink, or not, as Nightmare will lose that Immortal, and Lancer still has enough Stalkers to keep this going, but here comes the Reinforcing Immortal.
Yeah, Reinforcing Immortal does arrive just in time, but we are down to 2 Stalkers. Nightmare barely has a standing army. The all-in has caught Nightmare with his pants down, was just barely not ready in time. The Immortal gets pounced upon, and it gets targeted down once again.
And there's just not enough production here for Nightmare. He's only warping in 2 units at a time. His own Immortals are taking a while to pop out. It's 1 Immortal versus 1 Immortal, which is all okay when you're fighting within shield battery range, but I mean, there's no other way to go about it. Nightmare is at a supply disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly. Now Nightmare does finish up his extra gateways, but it's too little too late. He just could not keep up in the production with Lancer. He was caught with his pants down overcharge. The swap boys are being pulled, but honestly, Lancer, all he has to do is just wait out the overcharge. Just wait for it, wait till it runs out, then dive in. He has, oh my god, he's a little bit impatient, dives in regardless.
Yeah, a little bit impatient, but you know what? Channeling the spirit of patience.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get 1 Immortal, but unfortunately the other Immortal still stands strong, and his own Immortal is starting to look pretty battered and bruised. Nightmare forced to pull the boys, and now that income advantage he had earlier on is gone. He still has the bases, but that's not going to be anywhere near enough to make up for that. GG.
Yeah, GG. Nightmare, he holds. Lancer, he commits hard, and he barely doesn't break the natural base. He broke the 3rd, sure, but barely didn't have enough. Crazy.
Am I blind?
Yeah, Nightmare won.
I'm blind.
Like, Lancer, he was up in workers, but he was all in. He had to end the game then and there. Yep. He barely did not, and Nightmare, he barely holds. GG.
Barely holds through the skin of his teeth. That was insane. I mean, I guess losing that final Immortal right at the end there was kind of the death blow for Lance's army. He just was not able to keep that going.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that Lancer could have backed off and tried to macro out of it because he was up in workers. He had like a 10 worker lead or something. But at the same time, he didn't kill the third. Remember, the third base was still alive.
Yeah.
If he had killed the
he
third,
didn't
then I
know
think
he had the
could've.
lead, and that third was still alive, so he knew that, you know, even if he had an advantage or a worker advantage, Nightmare could have still caught back up, and Nightmare behind all of that was also getting his upgrades, he was getting his tech. Eventually, he would have been able to outscale him.
Yeah, GG. That was a very, very close game. Things were looking so good there for Lancer, but barely did not have enough to break the back of Nightmare. Such a clutch defense, such a clutch hold. GG. With that, we are getting ready for our grand finals. It is going to be a best of 5 between Nightmare and Rogue.
Yeah, PvZ grand finals, which, you know, that was fated to be. It's not quite the ZVP that we're used to here in ESL Open Cup Asia. It's not that hero versus dark that we're so used to, but you know what? Rogue versus Nightmare, we haven't seen either of them in the finals in a while.
Oh yeah. Here we go. And we are now going to be settling into this. We're going to be jumping into our grand finals. Vetoes are underway, so they need a little bit of time here to settle into that, of course. Until then, get ready with your Gamba, get ready with your predictions. I mean, coming into the series, part of me wants to favor Rogue, but I will be shocked if this is a 3-0. This shouldn't be one-sided. I want to see it back and forth.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to predict. I think it's going to be very, very close. I actually favor Nightmare a little bit more than Rogue, just because I do think that Nightmare, he's been back for longer, he's been active for longer, and he's been able to really... And he has been grinding out his matches that aren't PvP in quite a while, for quite some time, but, I mean, you never want to discount Rogue, right? Rogue is a huge wild card. I mean, he has been at the top of the game before, and for players of that kind of caliber, it doesn't take too long, or typically it doesn't take too long for them to get back into that champion, into that kind of champion form.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take them too long here. That's why we've seen kind of the spike and the rise of Rogue, the rise of Trap as well. It's been very impressive, very inspiring as well. Also, as we were kind of commentating at the end of that game, the only thing I could think of when you said when I was like, he's a little bit impatient, you're like some patient play. How did we never get a pro player called impatient? how did that never happen?
Impatient. How did that?
Like that's
impatient or impatient?
Impatient.
Two different things.
Yeah.
Impatience.
Yeah.
You know why that is? It's because we already have Patience. Who does play impatiently.
We needed him to like influence some of the youth. We needed like a rising star, like to
like how back in the day we had DRG Ling.
Yeah, true.
Who's not DRG.
Yeah.
Distinct different player.
Or Young Zest.
Or Young Zest.
Or Young Oliveira.
He's something different now. Yeah, Young Oliveira, who isn't Young Zest.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Young Zest is Potato now. It's Potato.
Yeah. Which, you know, at the same time, Potato is one of the SC Boy commentators.
I appreciate they always bring on players whenever they can. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Looks like Roddy always is given potatoes by Chinese fans.
True. I think there's a greater story behind that, but that does happen. That does happen. I don't fully understand. But it looks like our vetoes are done. Vetoes have concluded, and we are jumping into our next game. We're jumping into the finale.
Yeah. And thankfully, it looks like we are going to be passing that 2-hour mark, so that's good for the algorithm, from what I've been told.
Jesus, it hasn't even been 2 hours.
Yeah.
We've been live for just...
Hopefully, this series isn't just 5-minute games.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, so yeah, we will be able to, get to the 2.5-hour mark.
I think this is the shortest ESL Asia we've ever casted.
Without a doubt, yeah. Without a doubt. Look, it's an ESL Open Cup with 12 players checked in, and almost every single match is either a ZVZ or a PvP. It feels like it was engineered to be just a very quick tournament.
Yeah, like I've casted
It
some
feels like outside forces have kind of looked into this and kind of been like, you know what? Let's just zoom.
Yeah, just
When we
speed our
zoom,
way
we zoom.
into EWC. I mean, I've casted some short ESL Americas broadcasts, but that's only when I I don't know, maybe I'm late, maybe I sleep in, and then I only cast the semis and into the finals. But this was like a full tournament. This was a full bracket. Like we had,
we came in from the very beginning.
yeah. Oh my god. All right, well, here we go. If you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open. They'll be open once the game does begin. Just, you know, it looks like our players just need a moment to get ready, and you can get your gamba going here for this best of 5 finals. Who will be our champion? Will it be Rogue or Nightmare?
We shall see. Thor coming in with the trivia. Rogue hasn't made it to a finals of any tournament since coming back from military service. He's been close. He's been in semis here and there, but not quite a grand finals, and we'll see if this time he can actually bring it all the way home, or if Nightmare has something cooking.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I also noticed his chef hat.
Yeah. The whatchamacallit, the something sandwich. I know, we'll find something related. Anyway, regardless, we're going to be kicking off our best of 5 grand finals here. Kicking it off on Amphion, where we're here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left. We have our red Zerg player doing a little bit of an extractor trick coming out here. From the land of Korea, he is of course going to be representing Team Falcons. Woo! We have Rogue.
What the hell was that? What the
That's a sound.
That's funny. That is not a Falcon. In the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself currently teamless, but has had a deep run here in this event and is looking primed to go even further. It is Nightmare.
When do we get young Cyril? I believe that's Mixu.
True. Mixu does need a name change, is what we're saying.
Let's finish third players, man.
Yes, they Mixu. It's kind of like how Goblin needs to name himself like Young Roddy.
Yeah. Well, technically, originally, he is Roddy Jr. He is Roddy's firstborn.
Yep.
But, you know, in recent years, he has, you know, he's been trying to establish his a name for himself, you know, his independence.
Yeah. He's kind of, you know, flown the
Now
flock.
he's Apop. Now he's Apop's kid. Apoptosis.
Is that how that works? Jesus.
I mean, I believe all goblins are children of Apoptosis, so.
Yeah, shout out to Apop for joining forces with the chicken. I recently did start a Stormgate tournament called it's called, what's it called? It's called like the Goblin Cluck or something. It's like they merged like the chicken and the goblin.
It's not a Goblin Cup, yeah. It's like a Goblin something.
Yeah. It's like something like that. Yeah, much appreciated. I appreciate it.
Love to see it.
Is it the cluckening? What is, I need to double check.
I think Kuro posted it at some point on Discord.
It's like the Goblin Cluck Off. It's I don't know. Hold on. Chicken Man on Twitter.
We'll find some confirmation behind all of that. Thankfully, nothing much
okay.
The
Goblin.
right now.
The Goblin Cluck Fest. There you go.
There we go. It was Cluck Fest. Yeah. I know that wasn't a cup. Because Cluck was the cup.
Exactly.
Or meant to be the cup.
Exactly. As we are opening up Stargate, and interesting, with the Stargate opener, we're not going Oracle, we're going for a Void Ray first.
Yeah. Which is something that we have seen quite a bit of in these past couple of weeks. A lot of Protoss players, they do just like to be a little bit safer against... they do want to keep their tech a little bit more hidden. against these Overlords, which is why they opt for the Void Rays. And while typically we do see Void Rays being utilized to help in defense against Lings, it's not uncommon nowadays to see Void Rays like what Rogue is, like what Nightmare is doing right now against Rogue, scouting around the map and trying to catch even more Overseers.
Yeah, we'll see if Nightmare does hide his tech and indeed go into Glaives or a second Stargate or a fast Fleet Beacon. Nightmare has options with how greedy or how aggressive he wants to be. Back at home, Rogue is just droning. He's droning up Hatch Gas Pool into a third base. Everything's looking standard from Rogue, but as you mentioned, his scouting is going to be denied. There is second Stargate!
Here we go. We're going to see that third base get saturated, and I want to see that Fleet Beacon after that.
Okay, we have
it's just a natural endpoint of this build.
It is. Now, we have two options. We can either rush into a Fleet Beacon and go into Skytos, or we can go into Mass Phoenix and go into Charge and go for like a Phoenix Charge all in. Forge is on the way. That could just be for cannons and stack defense. We'll see as we are actually continuing Oracle production.
Interesting. Yeah, so going to be keeping up the harass. I mean, it's, I suppose, the only form of detection that he's going to have here, so it's not surprising to get a couple more Oracles, but he's doubling down on the Oracle production. This is a Haas build. This is Disco Balls to the max.
Yeah, it's going to be Mass Oracle, and this should be Charge and +1 for the ground army as well. We've seen this quite a lot. The last time we saw this was a couple of months ago, but there was a period in time where Hero did this so often against Rogue players. Against players like Solar, against players like Dark. We've seen Hero clown all over Dark with this build, just Mass Oracle, Charge lot. It can catch the Zerg player off guard. It can be quite terrifying to face if you don't scout it.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, that's what the Void Ray was for. Chased away every single Overseer that Rogue had positioned outside of Nightmare's base. And now we have 5 Oracles, technically, in total. We're about to have 7. Wait. We have 6.
Yep.
We were about to have 6.
Yeah.
And 6 gateways on the way. This is more than enough to just take down a hatchery. There's just so much damage potential in these lasers.
A lot of damage potential. Here we go. The Oracles, they reveal themselves. We're going for the Queens. And just like that, one Queen goes down. Second Queen. We have a Clutch Transfuse, barely keeping alive a little bit longer, but the second Queen does fall. More Queens are on the way. And do we have enough to overwhelm all these Queens? It's going to be close.
Well, we might have had enough when we had 6, but now we only have 4. And he has to be so careful with how he maneuvers them. He is getting a lot of drone damage. An entire mineral line falls.
13 drones go down. At the same time, Roaches go for a counterattack. There are some Zealots here to defend, but Charge is not done. These Roaches could get a lot of damage done as we're forced to recall back home.
Yeah, the kiting has been brilliant here from the side of Rogue, but now that the Void Ray is back home, and now that the 6 gateways have finished up, there's a lot of production here for Nightmare, and it shouldn't be too difficult for him to hold from here.
Yeah, especially with the Void Ray and everything up in the air as well. Roachling does not shoot up. We do get a surround on some of these Zealots, but we have the Overcharge, and Nightmare is holding, Nightmare is defending, and Nightmare is getting ready for his counterattack with Charge Lots and Archons.
Yep, getting ready for round 2. He's already bloody Rogue a lot with that entire mineral line going down. Rogue, at this point, he wants to be building units. He wants to be building Roaches. He wants to ideally be getting some Hydras or something. But instead, he's forced to re-drone, spend that larva on drones. And we're getting ready for round 2. Nightmare has a higher army supply than Rogue, which is terrifying.
He does. Meanwhile, we're going to be stacking all these Oracles. They are thrown away, but they get a lot of damage dealt. 10 more drones go down. At the same time, Void Ray distracting on the right-hand side. And here comes that move out. We're not pulling the trigger yet. We're waiting for more Archons. Another massive wave of reinforcements on the way. Now, amidst all of this, Rogue, he's not just stuck on Road Ravager. He's taking into Lurkers. And Lurkers will be a great way to hold and defend, survive. But we need a little bit more time to embrace the Lurker tech.
Indeed, we do. Rogue needs to hold out until then. But Nightmare, he wants to push out as soon as possible. He is getting +2, which it could be a sign that he's going to hang back a little while and just continue to build units. But if he pushes out right now, I do think this is when Rogue is going to be at his most vulnerable.
Exactly. Just before Lurker Tech is when he's at his most vulnerable, and we have to move out soon, and we're waiting for the Prism. Once the Prism comes out, we're going to be sending everything across the map, and this is going to be a terrifying army. We'll see if Rogue can somehow hold on. He's not going to have any Banelings, bear that in mind as well, so it's just going to be Roach Ravager, at least initially, but Hydras are amassing, and the Lurker Den is about to finish.
Yeah, Lurker Den's about to finish, and they are going to be vanilla lurkers, but that's all Rogue really needs for now in order to defend. He managed to get the Hive on time, and so he is going to be able to get his upgrades as well. And eventually, when those are finished up, he can start moving across the map.
Exactly. We have 5. Okay, 5 Lair Tech lurkers to defend. As you mentioned, they're not the best upgraded lurkers, but lurkers nonetheless. Is that going to be enough? As here we go, Nightmare sending everything right down mid.
It would be enough if they didn't get caught unborrowed.
Yeah, they almost do get caught out. Lurker's going to be rotating over, but we can try to avoid those lurkers, making our way towards the natural instead.
Yeah, really nice that Nightmare was able to keep at least a couple of his oracles alive, so he has detection in the form of Revelation.
Yeah, it looks like that Hydra Den will snipe, but the Lurker Den stands strong, so we still have a good amount of lurkers, and Nightmare, he has to back off. Rogue defense.
Like, so he does lose, so he does get his 4th base, I believe it was delayed, but other than that, hasn't taken too much damage.
Yeah, likewise going for a bit of a Roach counterattack, getting into the middle line. 5 more probes go down, not too bad. We have a Burrow on the way, Tunneling Claws on the way as well, so it looks like Rogue wants to commit into Roach harassment and Roach aggression. We'll see what he can get done, as Nightmare is now going to be on the back foot. He wasn't really ready for a longer game. Storm did just finish. Is he paying attention? No! Oh my god. Here we go. Is someone lagging?
My frame rate is dying for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's you!
I need to leave this game. Yeah, I need to leave this game, but it won't let me!
Oh.
My frame rate.
Yeah.
I can't even leave!
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Yaku is lagging out a little. There we go, lagging out a little bit. I'll do my best here to...
Am I gone?
Yeah,
Did I leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You might want to restart your client and try to get everything sorted for the next game. Oh, good. Whew. But for now, we're going to be focusing on our first game, and we might be in for a bit of a longer one. I might just solo cast for now, just because I don't think I have the bandwidth to stream my POV.
That works.
Yeah, all good. All good. So we are going to be settling in. But for now, we do have the fleet beacon on the way, +1 air attack as well. So it looks like Nightmare's getting ready for the late game. He's getting ready for a much, much longer game, which is unfortunate that I'm going to have to be solo casting this. Meanwhile, Burrow is revealed. Roaches are going to be tunneling in towards the main base, but the Revelation does connect, and the Roaches are going to be cleaned up. At the same time, Rogue going for another counterattack on the right-hand side. We are going for some multi-pronged aggression, trying to keep Nightmare busy as we free up supply for some more Hydra Lurker. Again, Rogue, he's maxed out, so he wants to get rid of these Roaches as efficiently as possible. Unfortunately, the first wave of Roaches don't get much done, but they get a full scout, and they do get eyes on the carriers. Carrier production well underway. Rogue is going to be primed to invest into Aspire, into Corruptors, into a more late-game composition. We're making our way towards that late game. Again, the lurker count is getting higher. This army from Nightmare is looking quite terrifying. That's a lot of Archons, Immortals, Storm as well. But with how many lurkers? With 14 lurkers, we can hold. We can survive. We can make it out of this. I do want to believe, at least. Rogue is still set up for that counterattack, for that run by. Likewise, 5th base on the way. Big shout out in the chat for, oh my god, for Icecar. Fala galera, papi, fala galera. Thank you so much for the support, for resubscribing for 28 months. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the love. Gracias, papi. Obrigado, obrigado. As Icecar is one of the big ESL admins out there, and without him, ESL would be worse off. So thank you so much, Icecar, for all the work that you do for ESL. Meanwhile, there's Aspire on the way. It's going to be for, again, that Corruptor transition. We're going to be here for a while. We're going to be here for a while, papi. As Roaches are going to be splitting up. We have Roaches hitting the 4th base, hitting the 3rd base as well. Some probes are going down at the same time. Nidus into the main. The Nidus Worm, is it going to finish up? The cannon does complete. We have a Void Ray on the task as well. Looks like we will deny the Nidus. Nidus gets shut down. A bit of a tri-pronged attack here out of Rogue, hitting the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th as well. Doesn't quite get the next. Again, we're getting rid of roaches. We're throwing the roaches away. We're freeing up supply. We're getting damage done. The Nidus Swarm behind the mineral line as well. And we're amassing more Hydras. More Hydras on the way. Speaking of, the Lurker army pushing in. Ooh, but we have carriers. Carriers have arrived. The Lurkers, they don't gain any ground. And we have to back off. Meanwhile, the Nidus Swarm does finish. We don't get much done with it. Nidus Swarm is going to be cleaned up. And Nightmare is going for a counterattack. I'm concerned Rogue isn't quite ready yet. He's still making more Corruptors. That's a kill on the 5th. We knock down the 5th base. Nidus Swarm in the natural gets shut down, but hey, we deny a base. And the Roaches are still getting damage done. The Roaches are still distracting, but only for so long. Yeah, Nightmare, he's had enough defending. He wants to move out. He wants to break free. Lurkers getting in position. That's going to be how many? That's going to be 13 Lurkers and 12 Corruptors. Can Rogue hold on? There's Nightmare. Does throw down the Revelation. There's an Observer with the main army as well. War Prism to the natural. Gonna be going for a Warp and going for the Spire. Uh-oh. The Spire! The Spire's exposed and it gets surrounded. We deny +1. Massive pickoff. Yeah, nice snipe from Nightmare. That's going to be a big delay in the upgrades. Like, sure, the Corruptor count is good, and we're going to be able to replace that Spire, but the upgrades, that's a big factor here. Now working against Rogue. As he's going to be stuck on 0-0 Corruptors for that much longer. Rogue's being knocked down. Storms ending with the Corruptors, rotating over towards the right-hand side. Likewise, Nidus Swarm does finish. We do get a couple of workers, though. Likewise, that hatchery still under fire. Is going to be denied. Up! It's going to be close. The one hero Zealot. He wants it. He's going to get it as well. At the same time, though, we're pushing in. I'm hoping that was a cancel in order to kill. I'm hoping that's the case. A couple of Lurkers going down. The Lurkers, they were out of position. Lurkers were not quite ready. At the same time, plenty of Archons to defend. Yeah, Lurkers, they're going down. Viper gets shut down as well. Corruptors, they go for the dive. Do we have enough support on the ground? We're going for the recall. Oh, we bring over, I think, a couple more Archons, but alas, the air army is going down, and we don't have enough on the ground either. Rogue is holding. He barely holds on. He cleans up the carriers, cleans up the Sky Toss. And there just weren't enough Archons. Oof. Big Storm, though. Big Storm on Rogue. Rogue doesn't have the best economy. He's on 60 workers. But Rogue has a standing army. More Lurkers on the way. The Corruptors, they stand strong. Nightmare barely did not have enough Archons to protect those carriers. Barely not enough. And with that, Rogue is going to shut this, or is going to be able to clean this up. The Storms are scary, that's true. If we had a greater Spire, we could have some Corruptors. Sorry, we could have some Broodlords. So we're slowly pushing forward. We catch out to the High Templar. No more Storms! Yeah, 0 Storms remaining. We're pushing on forward. We're done with the Sky Toss. We're focusing on Archons and Immortals. No detection! No! There's no detection, the Lurkers! They're getting free damage, but here we go. The Observer's on its way. We're gonna clean this up. Nightmare holds. And we're making use of the Corruptors. And raining down upon the production. Nightmare going for a counterattack. Can he break through? It's going to be close. We do have detection. The Immortals are trying to focus on the Lurkers as well. There's one Lurker left. Oh, the Transfuse keeps it alive. Just barely. And it looks like we're holding on. Yeah, with pure Roach, we're barely holding on. Clean up the Zealots, we clean up the Immortals as well, and there's nothing left. There's nothing left here for the Protoss. It was a very intense game. Very intense back and forth, but in the end, the 5th base is denied. And Nightmare, he's running out of money. He's running out of resources, running out of steam. It looks like Rogue has done it. We're down to a handful of Archons. I mean, we can maybe hold on with the overcharge, but nah, not even. There's just too much Zerg. We've gone back into Roach Ravager out of the Lurker tech. Just so we can reinforce, just so we can keep on pushing. we're breaking our way through. GG gets called and Rogue takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh, GG, well played. Rogue will take a lead in the series, and we'll take game 1.
Woo! After getting caught completely off guard. Nicely done.
Yeah, as a reminder, it all started with the Mass Oracle into Charge Lot, which did not end the game, did a lot of economic damage, but wasn't quite able to end it. And yeah, Rogue able to weather the storm, get into Lunkers, survive, buy a lot of time.
Yeah, I feel like that's a story of a lot of Zerg matchups.
Where like you hold on by the skin of your teeth, you get into
yeah. You're battered, you're bruised, you're lying in a puddle of your own blood in the side of the road, but you live long enough to get the Lunkers.
Yes.
And then from there, you just beat him back.
Exactly. We survived until Lunker take. Not just that, but as you were liking out, right after that, we saw Rogue go for mass counterattacks. We saw like burrowed roaches in almost every single base. He was knocking down the 5th base as well. Like Rogue was doing everything he could to keep Nightmare busy while he built up his lurker count and he built up his corruptor count.
Yeah, absolutely crucial. In the end, the GG, well played, but that was only game of 1, and this is, after all, a best of 5. So there are still many games left that need to be won in order to win. Anyway, we're here, going to be continuing our series on Golden Aura, where we're here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Team Falcons. Whee! We have Rogue.
Hey, I'm walking here. Jesus. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the South Korean Protoss player down in the series, but looking to bounce back. In this best of 5 grand finals, it is Nightmare.
Yeah, but ooh.
Okay. As we are going to be settling in, and Rogue just opening up Hatch Gas Pool, but I guess our eyes are mainly on Nightmare, right? Especially after what happened in game 1 with the Mass Oracle. Clearly, Nightmare, he is not pulling his punches, and he's wild. He's crazy tonight.
Oh, yeah. He's been holding back for so long. He's been facing nothing but Protoss players, but now he's untethered, he is free, and he can just do whatever he wants against the Zerg player. Well, we'll see. He can try.
He can try.
He has the opportunity to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. He is unbound, he is unbroken, and we'll keep an eye on Nightmare for now against standard openers for both the Zerg player and the Protoss. We'll see what kind of tech we go into, whether it's a Twilight Council or a Stargate. That will be a bit of a sign of aggression as well if we do go for a Twilight Council opener. But based on the pylon placement, it looks like it should be a Stargate out of Nightmare.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see if it's going to be a double Stargate once again, or if we do something a little bit more normal this time.
Mm-hmm. We could see something a little more standard. Meanwhile, Twilight Council gets thrown down, not the Stargate.
Oh,
okay.
So where does this fall in the normal spectrum? I'm feeling DTs.
DTs? That's a pretty good call for the time being. If we pull out of gas, then it should be a Glaives opener. But if we stay in, then DTs are definitely going to be more viable here for Nightmare. Otherwise, it could be Glaives plus DTs as well.
Oh, why not both? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Porqué build.
Exactly. Porqué, papi, porqué. We're getting into this, and we have not pulled out of gas, so it should not be 4-gate Glaive Adepts. We should be embracing something a little bit more tech-heavy instead, and it's going to be on Rogue to respond and to survive.
And there's that Dark Shrine.
You did call it. The Dark Shrine is on the way. Now, with this DT opener, there's a lot of potential with the Dark Templar. That is true, but if they don't get any damage, if we keep them alive, we can always go for some Archon Drop Harass as well.
Mm-hmm. It's very versatile, or very... It's an opening that allows you to have a backup plan in that regard.
Yeah, there's layers, if you will. Like an onion.
Yeah, like an onion. Yeah.
This is like a fourth Shrek movie.
They're making a fifth.
They're making a fifth Shrek movie?
They're making a fifth.
Oh my god. It's like Ice Age all over again.
Yeah. I think the kids are grown up or something in the fifth one. I don't know.
Oh no. Okay.
Something.
Okay. But now we're settling in. Prison's moving out across the map. The Dark Shrine is done. And do we have detection? That's a question. We have one spore in the main. We have a spore finishing up outside the natural. A spore in the third base as well. Yeah, we have detection. We should be okay.
But is it enough detection? Could be a question. Apparently so. These Lings are already in position to chase away the DTs. Nightmare going to try to juggle and lift them into the main. But once again, we already have detection.
Oh yeah, we have detection in position, we have our spores, the DTs are forced back, and with this, Nightmare's gonna have to back off and morph in those Archons. I say that, looks like he wants to try to catch some of these queens. Oh.
Yeah, which is not a bad idea, but even with Transfuse, there's still a lot of damage output on these DTs. One queen has already gone down, he's trying to get the second, there's no Transfuse left, but the Warp Prism is gonna barely survive and bring both of these DTs home.
Oh my god. That was a
literally one health.
Very intense exchange, as you mentioned. 1 HP on that Prism, barely does survive. It was 1 DT for 1 Queen and 7 Lings. It was an okay trade. As long as we keep the Prism alive, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Not great, but at least we haven't sunk a bunch of resources into a unit that hasn't gotten much value yet.
Oh yeah, exactly. So it could be worse, As Nightmare's going to be expanding back at home, Ling aggression has arrived, and we're going for the shield battery, going for the probes even as well, trying to get some damage done, but it looks like, yeah, we're not going to get much done here. Nightmare, he's ready for this.
Yeah, the shield battery alone, single-handedly keeping everything alive right now. Didn't even need an overcharge.
Yeah, the Ling run by gets cleaned up. The DTs are still wreaking havoc. No Archons, by the way. We have kind of kept them as Dark Templar instead. And Rogue did end up skipping his Roach production, and he's going into Ling Hydra.
Okay, yeah, Ling Hydra, a bit of an early infestation pit, so it looks like we are just rushing into those lurkers.
That's going to be the name of the game here for Rogue. Meanwhile, we're going to be warping in reinforcements, and Nightmare, he wants to go for the kill here and now. He does have 7 gateways behind this. Oh my god, a very aggressive build out of Nightmare. He has not even fully saturated that third base, not yet, as he's trying to break down the third of his opponent.
Yeah, and overall, I think this is the right call for Nightmare to make. You know, Rogue, he is rushing tech-wise. This is when he's going to be vulnerable, and Nightmare cannot allow Rogue to reach that final form. We have a lot of Stalkers. How good is the blink control?
So far, it's good enough. We're able to break through the Lings, getting into the Hydras. These are expensive losses for Rogue. Again, Mass Hydra can work well if we have Lings to support, but the Lings are not ready.
That they are not. They're going to be not quite slow Lings, so they're not exactly good Lings either. The Concave is decent on these Hydras, but that's just not enough beef in the Zerg army.
Yeah, the 7-gate Stalker aggression is just too much. We're going to be reinforcing on the front lines. Boys are being pulled, and it looks like Nightmare has done it. He has broken the back of Rogue, and he has punished him for trying to rush into that infestation pit, into that lurker tech.
And no way you're going to be able to pull a fast one on Nightmare, as he does immediately just punch you in the face with Stalkers.
Yeah,
Rogue holding on as long as he can. He knows if he can somehow survive, then he's going to be in a good position, but it's a very big if.
And the problem is he just lost 23 drones. 23 drones just went down. Rogue's economy is in shambles. And sure, he's barely holding on, but at what cost? At the cost of his economy, as we just keep reinforcing, keep warping in. Nightmare getting a 4th base behind this, and Nightmare, it looks like once again he is breaking through. And we are looking to tie up this series. Game 1 may have gone the way of Rogue, but Nightmare, he's in control of Game 2.
Very much so. yeah, continue to warp in. The control has been decent so far. Will lose the Observer, which means he no longer has high ground vision.
Doesn't have that high ground vision, is being forced back here again. The Hydras are barely holding their own, but GG gets called. There's just too many losses, and Nightmare will take game number 2.
Tag us up sideways 1-1.
Here we go. Yeah, we are tied up here, and we could go back and forth all the way. I feel like a lot of this is going to come down to the builds, though, of Nightmare. It's been Nightmare who's been mixing it up, again, with the Mass Oracle in Game 1, here in Game 2, going DT into a 7-gate Blink Stalker aggression as well. Yeah, really interesting playstyle so far to Nightmare. Very aggressive.
Yeah, not the typical follow-up for DTs, by the way, but one that has proven to be very effective here for Nightmare.
Oh yeah, was effective indeed. And now we're getting into Game 3, but Game 3 is going to be in a very different map. We're going to be loading into Alcyone.
Indeed, we are. A lot of snaking around on this map. Snaking around, a lot of sneak potential as well.
A lot of frog.
Yeah. Well, one frog, but it's a big frog. It counts as several.
It's a lot of big frog. Yeah.
Yeah. Or a manta ray, depending on where you're looking at it. But regardless, we're going to be continuing our best of 5 grand finals here on Alcyone. We're tied up 1-1, so we only have 3 maps to go at most. Anyway, regardless, we're loading into Alcyone. Over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our red. This is a player coming out from the land of Korea. He is the sexy boy himself, representing Team Falcons. He is Rogue.
You need to stop. You need.
I can keep going.
No, you can't. As he chugs his water.
I can keep.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing himself, but ties up the series 1-1. He's brought it back. Can he keep on going? It is a Nightmare.
We shall see.
Go.
As you pointed out, Nightmare has been the more active player in this series. He has been the one who has been trying to dictate the pace of the game. I say trying to because obviously game number 1 he had a build that completely caught Rogue off guard, but at the same time, somehow Rogue was able to survive, slow the game down to his own pace, and then take the victory from there.
Exactly, was able to slow the game down, was unable to pull that off in game number 2, was unable to really stem the tide of Mass Blink Stalker from Nightmare, but we'll see how Nightmare will take this approach this time here in our next game. Once again, he does throw down that pylon a little bit further back in the main. Typically, if it's a Stargate opener, it's closer to the edge of the main base. Instead, I'm curious what this is going to be for, whether it's a Twilight Council again. If it's a Stargate, we could go for another Void Ray opener, similar to game 1 as well. Meanwhile, it is going to be the Twilight Council, 2 games in a row.
Okay, keep our eyes on that gas income right now for Nightmare. We'll see if he does commit to the Dark Shrine once again. Rogue, on the other hand, has completely pulled out of gas after getting Metabolic Boost.
Oh yeah, we have pulled out of gas. We're going to be joining up, getting a 3rd base. So far, a standard setup here out of Rogue. I like the idea of Nightmare opening up similarly to the last game, but going for a different follow-up. So far, we haven't pulled out of gas, so it looks like another DT opener. Or, again, it could still be that kind of Glaives into Dark Templar as well. To keep an eye on our Protoss.
Yeah. In this particular quadrant of the main base, there's Glaives.
Ooh, okay. We have Glaives and we have pulled out. You can see here we have pulled out of gas, so it's going to be 4-gate Glaive Adepts. With this, we can expand thereafter. It is a very aggressive start, but not an all-in by any means.
Yeah, it can become an all-in if there's an opportunity, but like you said, it's not meant to be an all-in. It's meant to give the Protoss player early game map control. Ideally, take out a bunch of drones as well, but mostly it is for pressure in the early game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is for pressure, it is for economic damage. We do have our 3 gateways on the way. It's going to be 4 gates in total, so 4 gate glaive adepts. And we'll see when and if Nightmare does opt to expand, as his adepts are getting in position, but Rogue is primed to scout this.
He is. Well, he is, but these Lings can't exactly scout anything if they're dead.
Yeah, Lings are forced back. You can see Rogue is rechecking, confirming there is still no expansion. Back at home, Roach Horn's already on the way, so very safe open out of Rogue. We have the Roach Horn, we have the Spore finishing up in the natural, Spore in the main, and no Spore at the third. So we're a little bit vulnerable in case it was a DT opener, but then we got Spores also on the way, so Rogue playing as safe as possible.
Yeah, he knows what to look out for. I think, yeah, he scouted the glaive now, or rather he saw the glaive projectile now, so he knows that he doesn't have to worry about detection for the time being. He just needs to stay on top of these adept shades.
Oh yeah, yes. Stay on top of this. Adept's going to be threatening a shade towards the natural, but so far we won't quite commit yet, making our way towards that third. Prism as well as behind this, so we can reinforce.
Yeah, we're going to be looking to once it is opportune. Once these queens out of the way.
So far, so good. I mean, Rogue hasn't lost anything yet. He's amassing up more roaches, more lings. Oh, Rogue is supply block, though.
Yeah, pretty heavy supply block at this point. He needs to rectify that, and thankfully he is making a couple more overlords to rectify that. He's droning behind this, which sounds insane, but I guess he's feeling very confident in his link control.
Yeah, bold move, but yeah, Rogue is droning as we mentioned. Behind this, Nightmare also expanding, taking a third base. Lings have arrived and they are hoping to force a cancel, but we have defensive reinforcements. We should be able to defend. The third base is going to be getting up and running for Nightmare.
Indeed he is. Indeed it is. And yeah, Nightmare hasn't really been able to get into a mineral line just yet, hasn't really been able to deal much damage, but he is containing Rogue on these 3 bases, which in itself is a huge boon for him.
Yeah, and behind this we're building up Immortals. The Immortal count is getting very high very quickly. We have 2, soon to be 3 Immortals for Nightmare. Likewise, the Adepts have survived. Like, they haven't gone down, they've been able to maintain themselves, and Nightmare hasn't lost anything major yet. You could definitely argue that this third base is late for Nightmare, so economically he's not going to be in the best position, but as you pointed out, there's still no 4th base for Rogue.
Yeah. That's the last thing you want to be. Well, no, that's the second last thing you want to be as a Zerg player, is even on bases to your Protoss opponent. The last thing you want to be is behind in bases.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But here we go. We're getting ready for the move out. Nightmare doesn't really have much saturation going on here at the third base. He's looking to move out with the Mass Glaive Adept and Immortal.
Yeah, Forge about halfway done, but considering just how well Nightmare's been able to keep his army alive, considering just how potent of a force he's got with these 3 Immortals and all these Adepts, he might not even need those upgrades.
Yeah, he might not even need them, as we're just moving up with everything we have. We have 27 Adepts and 3 Immortals up against 28 Roaches and 3 Ravagers. Is it going to be enough? These Immortals, they have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, the Adepts are going to act very well as a buffer, but that's still a very strong concave from Rogue. And Adepts don't do too well against Roaches.
Yeah.
Against Ravagers, maybe.
And again, Rogue wasn't too greedy. Rogue never took a 4th base. He didn't over-drone either. You can see his 3rd base isn't even fully saturated. Rogue has been amassing Roach Ravagers, so he's ready for the fight. He's ready for the move out, and Rogue defends.
He defends, and he's getting himself ready for the counterattack. More Roaches on the way. Lings on the way as well. I don't think we're even going to need a 4th base here for Rogue, as he just wants to go across the map and reciprocate the damage.
100%. Rogue, he intends to end the game one way or another. He has successfully defended against the aggression of Nightmare, and Nightmare is not set up to defend against this. Shield batteries are just now on the way. Sentries just now warping in, and Rogue is sending everything across the map.
Yeah, looking to end it all. We only have 2 sentries with energy on them, and that's all the force fields we're going to get. Easily biled down, and our Rogue just busts on forward.
He busts on 3, breaks through the defenses. Boys are being pulled. Shield batteries are finishing up as well, but they're exposed. They're vulnerable. They're being targeted down as well by those files. And it looks like Rogue just has far too much.
Way too much Zerg here. Battery overcharge gets popped, and the rest of the shield batteries get filed on down. Just way too many roaches, way too many ravagers, way too much damage.
Yeah, the swarm is here. We overwhelmed the third base and we're pushing in towards the natural as well. Nice juggling here at a Nightmare. Does preserve one of those immortals, but one immortal is not going to be enough to defend against the tide of Zerg. Again, Nightmare just being a little bit too aggressive, and Rogue correctly identifying that and making sure he didn't overdrone, making sure that he was ready to defend and then attack.
And then defend and attack.
Yeah.
So that little dance to do.
Yeah, this time he was not caught out. This time he didn't take up into Hydras and take up into the Infestation Pit. If this was game 2, then we would have seen a repeat of what happened there. But this time Rogue, he was a lot more safer, a lot more secure. Massive Vials Connect. We just rained down on the mineral line. The Immortal finally goes down. That was the final Immortal.
And with that Immortal going down, so do Nightmare's prospects of defending. GG, Rogue, gonna be finding himself a match point.
GG, well played. Rogue does find himself a match point. One more game is all that Rogue needs to claim the series. Meanwhile, Nightmare has to fight back here and now to force the ace match.
Indeed, he does. Time to whip out the silver bullet. Whatever he has planned, he needs to bring it out, and he needs to execute it well right now.
And we're getting ready for that potentially final game. We're going to be loading into Oceanborn as game number 4.
Oh, it's gonna be roaches again.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Not wrong. Yeah, roach play is very common on this map. We've seen a lot of 3-base all-ins or queen walks or German taxis or just aggression from the side of Zerg on Oceanborn, just because the third base on this map is a lot more vulnerable, a lot more exposed, even more so than that on like Alkyone or even Side Delta.
Yeah. A lot of bile potential, but on the flip side, I can't wait to see how Nightmare chooses to play this one out. I'm sure he has something in store. But regardless, we're going to be continuing our best of 5 grand finals on what could potentially be the final map of the evening. It is, of course, going to be Oceanborn. Over here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way here in the top left, we, of course, have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Rogue.
What animal makes that sound, Yaku?
A cricketoon.
Sporting. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. The blue Protoss, he's down in the series. He has to fight back here and now to force that ace match. Can we make it to game 5? The pressure is on. It is Nightmare.
Second up.
Here we go.
Yeah. Loading on it. I can see you looking at chat.
I know.
Waiting for for the complaints to scroll in.
Yeah, we're I see in the chat. Please call Peter. Yaku is torturing birds.
You're torturing me every morning when I try to sleep.
True. You don't understand. They're the reason why Yaku's the way he is. Oh no.
Why isn't that a team? Team Uwu birds.
Team Uwu. I mean, I'm pretty sure Team Uwu is a thing. I'm pretty sure that is.
Are they birds?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh well.
They're weaves.
They need to merge with Team Falcon.
Yeah.
So it'll be Team Uwu birds.
There you go. As we are settling in, this time the pylon is thrown down on the edge of the main. This time it is a Stargate opener instead, so things looking a lot more standard from the side of Nightmare, at least here in Game 4. We're done with the aggressive nature of these Twilight Council builds.
Yeah. We're going back to what we're familiar with. We're going back to our roots. We're going back to mass oracles.
I mean, it could
Ideally,
be.
but we'll see.
Uh-huh. We could see another Void Ray opener into a second Stargate. That is possible. That is definitely possible. It's already happened once in the series, but what are the odds that it happens again for a second time?
Pretty high, I would say.
I know.
I'm just waiting for the... Okay, but this time it is going to be an Oracle first rather than a Void Ray first.
There are people that apparently want a Nightmare Scream. I don't think that's advisable.
Oh, what's a Nightmare